He's managed to get himself on the inside, but he's caught up on the curve. Sean Allen, the outside special. We've had a huge crash. This can't be real. I think he might have this job done finally. Ethan Warren gives him no space. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. Turn 4, he's taking out Bruce Dean as well. Oh, big moment there. Kurt Stenberg on his roof. Big crash in turn 4. That is an unfortunate huge crash. It's a huge wiggle. I thought he was clear. A late move, final corner, that's the death! A very good evening to everyone watching around the country this evening, and it is the 12th round of the Automobilista Supercars Championship from the Bend in Tailem Bend, South Australia. My name's Stairs. It's my pleasure to welcome Madbird to the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Stairs. We are here in our home state of South Australia, and at a track that we've both been to, and we were just talking before the broadcast about how a few people don't think this is a particularly accurate recreation of it, but looking at the complete lack of trees or other sites of interest around the track, it looks pretty realistic to me, Stairs.
Yeah, that is absolutely 100% accurate. That is Tailem Bend.
That odd little, sort of jagged bit of braking zone there, where all the cars... It looks like it might be something to do with the...
I think that might be a glitch with the AI racing line.
Where they've decided to do a little right-left chicane in the middle of the straight for some reason.
Not
in the braking zone, no less.
Exactly. Yes, I don't think that will be what we see the guys doing tonight. But what we've seen the guys doing in the previous 11 rounds has resulted in the current points classification standings, with Dayne Warren leading the way with his third livery of the year, this time driving for Commander Sim Sports and running that red and grey and white livery. He leads Sean Allen, and Kurt Stenberg's in third place. Then we've got Brody Steen, the second race on Oscar there in fourth. Zach Baker in fifth. Colin Warwick, David Nedich, RSM Latino, and Alex Cattle and Thomas McMillan there rounding out the top 10. He's had a few bad results, and I got through the top 10 this time, Madbird.
You did indeed. A couple of things in that top 10. Sean Allen quite close, actually, to Dayne Warren, closer than I thought he was. Within a round's wins of Dayne Warren if he were to not rock up. And Zach Baker also very, very close behind Brody Steen, about 40 points in it. So those are a couple of positions that could easily change in the coming rounds.
Yes, and just 2 rounds remaining after this one, so if Sean stays in there and manages to win the Bathurst round, then he could still be in his chance of winning the championship. Speaking of the championship, the team seems to be almost wrapped up from their point of view, doesn't it?
Yeah, about 900 points to the better race on Oz over ZB Racing. Trans-Tasman in third, RSM in fourth. Logitech Gialtis Esports, who are no longer in the championship. Pleb Sim Sports in 6th. Warwick Racing 7th. Stealth Penrite in 8th, who are also no longer in the championship. All Australian races in 9, and Dahlia Racing rounding out the top 10 for the teams. And we've got a couple of people hopping in the chat. Absolutely do hop in and say g'day to us if you are watching at home. Nathan Egerson just saying evening, gents. And Luke Rosella saying it's the Bend Motorsport Park or it's nothing. Which is a bastardisation of Farmers Union iced coffee.
Yeah, Luke Rosella, a proud South Australian, I believe.
Good man. Only place in the world where a milk drink outsells Coca-Cola.
Indeed. So let's just quickly have a look at what's going on in practice.
Yep, so we've got about 15 or so minutes, maybe 20 minutes left in this practice session. We have just clicked over into a new one. So this 19 minutes is actually going to be the remainder of this practice session. So we're watching Corey Preston, who I believe is a call-up from Super 2. Good to see a few unfamiliar faces out there. In the Natrad.
Corey Preston raced in last year's championship, so it is good to see him back.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's good to see some returning faces then. Not particularly new faces necessarily, but we do have the regular suspects in tonight. We've got Dayne Warren, we have got Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg, and no, Ethan. Oh no, we do even have an Ethan Warren.
Yep.
We've got the full set of Warrens. If you combine them, then you can evolve into the Greater Warren.
Oh yeah.
Which is I'm not sure what I'm talking about.
The Greater Warren.
The Greater Warren, yeah, is which I can only if you combined the skill of Ethan Warren and Dayne Warren together, that'd be something indeed. You can see there Corey opting not to follow the AI's line, and
Good call, I think. On his part.
very good call. It's not. It sort of could possibly be like Monaco on the way down after the casino bend, where they sort of swerve out for what looks like no reason, but it's actually because there's quite a big dip in the track there. Could be like that, but it isn't. Luke Rosello just saying, the round I finally get my clutch pedal, my right eye decides it wants to self-destruct. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you're on the mend. I hope that your eye has not literally self-destructed. I'm quite thingy about my eyes because I've only got one that really works. So I do hope that you mean you've got conjunctivitis or something like that.
Well,
not
yeah,
that
what a strange sentence.
Well, yeah, I don't hope that, but I hope that it's
that it's merely
an injury or an illness, and not some sort of permanent damage there. We would like to see you back out there, Luke. Always enjoyed your. Is it Luke that has the Tamiya livery?
It is.
Yes, I love that livery.
looks like we've got Luke joining us in the live chat. So hope to keep the comments coming, Luke, and we'll hope to enjoy some banter throughout. And any other guys watching, feel free to drop a comment in there. We do love the engagement.
We do, and especially in these practice sessions where we don't have too much to talk about, it always gives us a little bit of something to nosh on in a conversational sense.
It's a nosh on.
It's a
I do like noshing.
I do. I'm a big fan of noshing. I was going to say, Dayne Warren has gone fastest in this practice session, with a 49.327. I was going to say Ethan Warren was actually the superior of the Warrens last time out at Townsville, for memory. He seemed to have a bit more pace than Dayne, especially in qualifying at the very least. But Dayne managed to drag home at least one win, I think. I can't, honestly, it's only been a couple of weeks, but as we see Corey having a massive off. I believe that was coming out of turn 5.
They all look fairly similar, don't they?
They do all look fairly similar. That's the issue with this circuit. As Matt
go back to the pits, I think.
Matt Dunlop says, let's start a nosh pit. That should be with a G. Ganosh is how it's spelt.
Oh, well, we learn something every day. I did not personally know that.
There you go, and it means to eat.
Make sure it's a socially distant ganoche pit.
Yes, of course. Tuning in whilst doing the tireless mod work on the 5-litre Tourers mod over at AMSMA. Not long to go now. We'll always look forward to seeing some new mods in the community.
I believe Nathan is tirelessly working on mods on various fronts. I've seen a lot of the posts of Nathan throughout the year, and we do bow to the work of the modders, don't we, Madbird?
We do. It's what makes Automobilista, Assetto Corsa, R-Factor. It makes basically all the big sim racing games that aren't iRacing.
Look at that, Madbird. There's a 149 dead to the thousandth of a second from Ethan Warren, who has ended up being faster than Dayne Warren, at least for the time being. No, not anymore.
Literally, as you were saying it, Dayne Warren crosses the line. He was down throughout that lap, so he must have gained a bit right at the end.
Well, Ethan has the records from last year. Dayne didn't race in the Bend Motorsport Park race last year, and Ethan took all of the chocolates home with him.
So he would be looking to hang on to those chocolates.
Haig's chocolates, of course.
Haig, of course.
Being local.
Of course. The finest of chocolates. And pop off on down to Rundle Mall and grab some, assuming that store is still there.
I hope it is. I think it is.
I've not been in the city since all this started, I don't think, Stairs.
When was I last in the city?
The proud city of Adelaide.
It's a good city. Because it's open.
It's sort of it's a you can go out there. And you can see your friends.
Shout out to our Melbourne friends who are doing it tough right now.
Sorry,
with the
lockdown. And gotta say, hats off to Nicole Spurrier, the SA Health CEO is not the right term, director, who everyone's sort of giving her the credit, but I mean, I guess it's been sort of a group effort.
I think the job she's been doing in communicating the efficacy of what we're doing and all of that is one that can't be underestimated, because I think places in the world where that communication isn't there, that's where there seems to be a lack of people complying.
Yes, yeah, it's been trotted out, all the information's been trotted out in a very easy to understand and effective manner. She only got in the job, I think, 2 weeks before.
Oh my goodness!
Before lockdown started happening. So, yeah, absolute trooper. Matt Dunlop just saying at this point I'm relatively numb to it. Condolences, of course, to those who are in less
fortunate positions,
less fortunate areas. Yeah, let's say. Particularly Melbourne, although I saw that Victoria's numbers are coming down.
They're actually quite a lot.
Despite Dictator Dan and all the freedoms that are being restricted by forcing people to wear masks. How dare they? But we don't.
Apparently it's quite hard to breathe through a mask, but I'm sure it's harder to breathe through a coronavirus-affected breathing system.
Yeah.
Breathing system? Respiratory system.
Yeah, when you've lost 50% of your lung capacity. Probably a little bit harder than breathing through some cloth for a little while.
We're getting political here.
We are getting political, aren't we? See, this is what happens when we've got a practice session to chat over.
Well, I must apologise. I'm in the background trying to rectify a small technical issue and allowing you to do the lion's share of
That's
the talking.
fine. And of course, when I'm in charge, the politics come out.
Well, what did you talk about last round when I went off to relieve myself?
I honestly can't remember.
You're talking about football, I think.
Did I? Oh, yes, I did. Yes, and of course, speaking of football,
well.
and we are in South Australia this week, this round. The two most consistent teams in the AFL this year have been Port Adelaide, who are at the top of the ladder from the end of round 1 through to the end of round 18.
It has to be said, though, the Crows have really dropped the ball from a consistency point of view in the last month.
Yeah, they won three games, which is not good enough, but they did.
They held on for the spoon.
They held on for the wooden spoon and that number 1 draft pick that they were holding out for. Leading the ladder for the entire season and then finishing as minor premier has only been done 3 times now in AFL history. That was 1991 with the West Coast Eagles, 2000 with Essendon, and now 2020 with Port Adelaide. You might be able to tell that that's a stat I've been trotting out a bit over the last 24 hours.
One of my favourite stats was that both of the Adelaide-based teams couldn't beat a team above them on the ladder for the longest time.
Ah, lovely. I don't remember that one. I thought you were going to pull out a different stat to do with 117.
No, I wouldn't dare.
Oh, man. Can't the pair, goes Luke Rosella, good man.
I know that my team doesn't particularly play well in September, but that's all right, because a lot of the finals are going to be in October.
Yeah, you're lucky, actually, because Port and Cats are the first final off the block on Friday, the 1st of October, so you've snuck in by the skin of your teeth into not the month that you don't specialise in.
Exactly. Although there's a week off, isn't there, before that? That's one of our other Achilles heels.
There is a bye, because I think Collingwood have got to go over to Perth and isolate before they're allowed to play or something.
Our good friend Matt Dunlop saying, remember when Essendon were good? I do actually remember their premiership year.
I remember they were quite dominant during the year 2000. And I think Matt might be able to clue me in on this. I had another Essendon supporter friend, Speedy, who used to complain that they were robbed by the Kangaroos in, I think, 1999. And he was always very, very bitter about that. I always figure that if you're robbed in a grand final, then maybe you should have just played better. You don't hear Port supporters saying that they were robbed in 2007.
Well, probably that was a grand final, a performance that was probably a little bit like the Crows. No one told them they actually made it to the final.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad, unfortunately. That would have been a lot of Schadenfreude for the past 10 years if the Crows had lost by even more in their grand final. I was the only one in the room wearing a Richmond scarf that day, and boy was I smiling. Apologies for the rambling. As Stair said, he is feverishly trying to fix up a little issue we're having with, I think, some of the liveries.
Yeah.
The
livery, it's working on one computer but not the other, and I can't figure out why.
It's so as we were saying, Automobilista is made by its mods, but the mods can also sometimes cause a little bit of frustration with, well, everybody. Our good friend Heath Dixon, also known as Goofball Antics, is struggling with Automobilista at the moment. Seems to be crashing all the time for no discernible reason. So it is Brazilian.
It is.
And
Madbird, we're going to take a quick break, and
sounds
on
good.
the other side I'll come back with some more action from the Bend Motorsport Park. Here we are, approaching the hay plains. We've got Evie, or Goofball Antics is driving. It's happening. And on the other side there is Madbird. It's me. And Stairs here, repping in the back seat. Behind us. Let's not worry about that magazine. we got Resist and Xeris in the front there. Resist driving. How have you felt about the trip so far, Heath?
It's been good. It's a bit of an early start. It's nice and cool in here, and that's all that matters. Good company.
Yeah, it's a pretty hot day today, isn't it, Madbird?
Feels weird being a passenger in my own car.
We're 6 hours in, about 7 hours to go. See you in Bathurst.
Oh my goodness! How are you feeling after that turn there, Heath? Or that not turn, but that truck turning?
Truck turn?
Yeah, that looked like it unsettled you slightly.
Are there any cucumbers back there, Stairs? Because that'd be the only thing cooler than me right now.
Oh, he's done it.
This Coke's pretty cool.
What an absolute legend. So we're on the way to West Wyalong. We got assorted snacks. We got our walkie-talkie, and we don't have a rubbish bag. Do we, Stairs?
No.
I appreciate it.
We don't have a rubbish bag. That was an oversight.
So the marching order is the same as before. I believe Phil is still driving in the other car.
Yep.
We're about 400 k's now from Bathurst, and it's all looking very exciting. I'm very keen, and I'm really happy that Alistair has these very loud walkie-talkies.
Fuck. Do you want to check in with the other cars, see if they've got anything to say to the fans?
Oh my gosh.
Matt Car to Fabmobile, do you read?
What?
Take that as a yes. Do you have a question for them?
How's your drive going?
Oh, how's the drive going? Everything going well on your part?
Yep, it sure is the countryside.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there.
Good talk.
Good talk. Anyway, good talking to you.
So that's about it. We're on our way, and we'll be in Bathurst this evening. I'm very excited to stretch my legs. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to the Bend here for round 12. We're still trying to fix up something in the background, but in the meantime, Dayne Warren is in the lead. The top two positions haven't changed since we were last looking at them, and Thomas McMillan is now up into third place. He is on your screen there in the Pleb SimSport ZB car. We did miss a couple of messages in the chat. So Luke Rosella just saying, you guys going to go to the track on Sunday or Saturday? No, Stairs and I will actually both be in the Flinders Ranges this weekend.
You told them now. We were trying to escape everyone.
Oh, bugger.
Everyone's going to follow us there.
Oh no. Please, we're going to be in the Mount Remarkable National Park.
Exactly, yes. We will be there.
And we also had Matt Dunlop just filling in some information there, saying might be thinking of the 1996 prelim between Essendon and Sydney. Tony Lockett kicked it behind to beat us by a point, and then North beat them in the granny.
A very special religious message after that. Praise be unto the magazine on the parcel shelf.
Yes, that the gimbal did not want to look away from.
It liked it.
And Daisy, apparently, I'm led to believe, wants to be deflowered. Nathan Higginson with a couple of laughing emojis there. Hopefully we won't see that particular close-up of my pimply forehead in future. But you may unfortunately see some of my dancing instead. Possibly. We've got a couple of minutes left in this practice session before we'll be hopping over into the qualifying for race number 1. 3 races here tonight, all of them identical length, 60 kilometres.
Good to see Aiden Schultz actually back. We haven't
It's
seen
been a
him
while.
race for quite a while.
We're up to 16 runners now, which is good to see.
So Dane leading from his brother Ethan. All your live timing available at rsmclanau.liveraces.com.
Yep, and while you're opening a window to open that, you might as well open a window, go over to Facebook, and give us a like on Automobilista Supercars Championship and on Apex Rear Wing as the broadcasters. And if you like these broadcasts you put on, you like the banter and talking about prelim losses from 24 years ago.
96 does seem like 14.
It does, yeah. I don't. There was that. I saw someone saying, I think it was a couple of years ago now. They said, Pokemon like Red and Blue came out 22 years ago today or something, and then it was that image of Michael Scott from The Office just saying, like, softly in brackets, don't.
I was expecting the Michael Scott
Parkour.
video. No, when he realizes that he thinks Toby's gone, but he's still there, and he's just like, oh no, 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 no!
That is another classic.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that to be so loud in my ear, but nevertheless it was.
I did try to mute it somewhat.
You did quite
I put
well.
on like a compressor on myself.
What was I going to say? If you do like these broadcasts that we put on,
Oh yes.
hop on over to patreon.com/apexrearwing, and any spare change per month that you can spare is greatly appreciated. A lot of time and effort goes into putting these shows on, and we do hope you enjoy them. And of course, if you have any feedback or anything, absolutely let us know.
Yeah, tell us what you want us to do / talk about.
Yeah.
We are your monkeys.
Not the word I was going to use, but that's as long and the short of it is correct.
Yeah. I mean, we still have the option. We have the illusion of free will, so we have the option to say no.
Does Aiden Schultz have L plates on the back of his car?
Let's have a looky.
I believe he does.
I think that's just the number 11.
It looks very much like an L plate.
Yeah, so I think, though, that you were mistaken.
Okay. Wouldn't be the first time
that
I've been mistaken.
For?
Well, not just mistaken in general.
Okay.
I'm often mistaken about most things. So
Not long till qualifying.
no, so we're practice session has just ticked down, so we are not far off of qualifying for race number 1. And at the moment, Dayne Warren is the one who is looking like he is in the ascendancy. He's got 0.02 of a second over his brother Ethan, which really isn't that much. But, you know, it only needs to be that little bit to put you a step above on the grid. Yellow flags have come out to signal that the session is over. And they've gone away again. Never mind, that might have just been a yellow flag.
Yeah, I think the timer has hit 0 though, which does signal that. And there is a small amount of silence as we now await the qualifying session to begin, which will happen very shortly indeed.
You just fart?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, and again. that was a traveller.
One for the road.
That was, oh my god. Oh, and you've got me hemmed in here. I can't escape. I'm lodged between a set of drawers, the desk, and another desk. I cannot escape. I'm in your fart box. We are here at the Bend Motorsport Park. It's around 12. Don't pay attention to that particular graphic. The track is clockwise. Turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and swiftly followed by 13, and then 14, and then 15, and you're never going to believe it, 16, 17, and 18. Ethan Warren with the qualifying record here, and both pole positions from last season in 2019, but that was because his brother Dayne did not compete last season, whereas he is definitely here tonight. So
look, they're all
ready to
queued
go,
up, aren't they?
They're keen to go, and I'm waiting to see if it's safe for me to breathe through my nose again. Yes, we are safe as they all rush. Oh my god! And we've got a few cars.
Oh, that's not gone well at all.
Straight into the.
It's the widest pit lane
my
that
god.
we go to, and somehow they don't have enough luck to get out of their pit garages.
It looked like Alex Cattle, despite seeing everyone backing up ahead of him, just continued rolling into that ZB car.
Okay, there's there's a car defects car on the left there that's managed to get back in.
Oh my goodness.
But Sean Allen, I believe, is the car leading its way around.
Yes, it is. Yes. So he is now on your screens. That was a very messy start to the qualifying session. So hopefully they can all get out of their pit garages unscathed this time around. So it looks like he's got a little bit of company. A couple of people wanting to get past him, which he looks like he's more than happy to let them do so. Give himself a little bit of space. What are you chuckling about over there, Stairs?
Oh, just Auschwitzing you before. I'm sorry about that.
That took me a second. Auschwitzing me. My goodness. Regardless, I can breathe through my nose again now, so all's fair.
All's well that ends well.
All's fair in commentary boxes and gastric disorders.
I thought that the lesser of two evils would be me doing that instead of just leaving you to it.
I appreciate.
Maybe.
My goodness.
So this is the warm-up lap of the qualifying session. So we haven't seen anyone turn a lap in anger yet.
No. So Sean Allen just coming around the last few corners now to start his first flying lap.
And Ethan Warren's actually, I think he's coming out on his on his out lap. It's actually Dayne Warren leading the queue though. So we'll see if we can pick up him because he's about to start his lap. That is the new livery of Ethan Warren, by the way. You can see the Card Effects sponsorship on the side there, run by his father Blair Warren. And here is Dayne starting his lap.
Yep, so it's I reckon it will be a battle of the Warrens for pole position.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see who fills out the rest of the top four. Thomas McMillan looking strong.
This is the first time we've seen Dayne Warren at this racetrack, so completely unknown quantity.
It's unknown quantity, but very known quality.
Yes. Very good.
Very. Thank you. I was pretty happy with that.
I will pay that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't pay me enough, Dayne
I
Warren.
don't pay you a cent.
No, you don't. You'd pay me with your friendship and your sitting next to me, and when you're not farting, that's enough.
I was gonna say, what do you get for it? A face full of gas. I'm a horrible person.
Yes.
Yes,
no,
I am.
No, you're not a horrible person. You're a lovely man. Just with a particularly rancid asshole sometimes.
I don't. I don't think everyone needs to hear that.
Well, I mean, you're the one that used the term Auschwitzing you, so...
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I feel like you're very much calling the pottle...
Pottle? The bottle calling the cat black.
Oh, fuck.
Aye.
Oh, bugger. Dayne Warren.
We need to clean up our act for Bathurst. We're going to have a lot more
We
people
are.
viewing, you know.
Oh my god, but we'll have other people to keep us in line as well.
Yep.
Dayne Warren
Don't know if
almost
that'll work though.
near the end of his first hot lap.
Yeah, just a couple more corners to go.
Yep, so coming up to the final corner now, turn 18. Onto that start-finish straight. The grid slots go all the way back to there, my goodness.
I don't think we'll fill them today.
No, I don't think we will, as he shoots across the line with a 49.137, which is a little bit slower than he managed in the first practice session, but have to wait and see what he's able to pull out.
Hayden Kruger slots into second. Sean Allen immediately displaces him, and we look towards Ethan Warren to see what he can do.
Yep, he's been locked in a rivalry with his brother, a rivalry that he has been generally losing, except for last time out at Townsville, where he did have the pace over his brother Dayne, at least in qualifying. At the moment, he's about on track. He's actually about a 1/10 of a second up on Dayne Warren through the second sector split. So looking good, a little bit messy there out on the curbs. There are a lot of curbs that you can take advantage of around the bend. And he's doing that to the fullest extent that he is able to. Coming onto the second to last corner now, and through turn 18 he goes. So he will be crossing the line in just a few moments' time. It looks about the same in terms of pace, actually a little bit slower, much slower. 1.5 seconds he lost in that last sector.
Yeah, it must have been some sort of
Goodness
error.
me.
Like they catch a bit of air
That's
coming
right.
over that hill.
I was about to say, I'm not sure if they actually do, or if that's just a little, it's a little
Looks-
glitch with the geometry.
Yeah, I think the geometry maybe goes up a bit higher than the texture does.
Possibly indeed.
So, in the meantime, Kurt Stenberg has slotted into second place, just ahead of co-admin Colin Warwick. Sean Allen in fourth place, so that's, Ethan's slotted in behind those guys.
4 minutes left in this qualifying session, so plenty of time to put in another couple of laps. And Ethan is up at the moment, just on first position through the first sector, as he continues on around. We've got 16 runners, but only 13 of them have set lap times so far. We're still waiting on Thomas McMillan, who we expect to be up towards the top, David Nadich and Dane Licciardo, who we were saying Licciardo, but turns out he's even more like Daniel Ricciardo, in that his name is just spelt the simple way, pronounced the simple way rather. Ethan Warren coming up to the middle sector split, and he's up
Oh,
again.
it looks good, doesn't it?
It does, but he lost 1.5 seconds from here on the last lap. That time he did not get anywhere near as hairy on the curbs as he did the first time around.
Can't possibly be that bad through the final sector.
It wouldn't, not for a second and a half, you wouldn't expect. He's coming through the last couple of corners now. That's the penultimate one. There's turn 18 and some traffic for his trouble just ahead, but shouldn't bother him between here and the end of the lap. This does look a lot better. Oh, gets the back out.
Nice.
But manages to rein it in. Comes across the line right around now, and he goes first fastest by 0.2 of a second. That is a very good lap. Under the 49s, which is where Dayne Warren managed to land in the practice session. But Dayne Warren at the moment doesn't have an answer for it, so he's still on his on a new outlap, I believe. So have to see how he's able to improve, or if he's able to improve at all. Here he is on your screen, so still on his outlap. I think this is the last couple of corners here, so should be starting his new hot lap in just a moment's time. Oh no, never mind. I've mistaken it for another corner. Very easy to do around here.
Yeah, it's actually still got the best part of the final sector to go there, I believe.
That's some very, very realistic and important hoarding there on that particular wall. Billy's Pies, and a South Australian icon, as is the Billy's 24-hour bakery. If you ever feel like, a sausage roll at 2 in the morning, they've got you covered.
Places being open at that hour is not something you would expect of South Australia, but
No.
nonetheless, it is a thing that happens.
And it's whenever I tell people we've got a 24-hour bakery, they're always very impressed. So it's a point of pride for me, at the very least, as a South Australian, that you can go somewhere and get some pancakes at 1 in the morning if you really feel like it, or a pie floater. Went there just the other day, actually, got some chips and gravy. Lovely.
Lovely jubblies.
It's where my girlfriend asked me out.
Oh, it was special memories.
I guess. The words she used was, because she asked me, she told me, she said, mate, you should date me. Those were her words. And date her I did, and we're still going 4.5 years later.
Wasn't that implied on your first date that you were already on?
Well, I feel like date in a more, official and permanent sense.
Oh, I see. Right.
Like in the going steady sense, I suppose, if you want to use American or The Sims parlance.
We're going steady. Someone's backwards there.
Yeah, geez.
Ahead of Dayne Warren.
That would have thrown him off a fair bit. There was some smoke across the track in front of him, but he's managed to hold it together quite well. Coming up towards the second sector split, so get to see how he's managed it through this lap. Any second now, he'll be crossing that timing line. There he goes, and he's up on his PB, but he's down on Ethan Warren's time. So Ethan Warren, I don't know if he's just done a lot of practice, but he seems to be a little bit quicker than his brother at this stage.
Remember, he's got the benefit of having won 2 races here last time.
He does. He's got some experience in Automobilista, whereas Dayne, this is probably his first experience around the bend full stop, let alone in Automobilista. I believe
it's a long track to learn, it has to be said.
It is. It's isn't the international circuit is the longest?
Yeah, it's about 7.7 kilometers.
Other than Nürburgring.
We're not doing the.
Oh, but he's beaten him. He's half a tenth in the last sector. He's managed to pull out to take that first position away from Ethan Warren, and the qualifying session's actually expired, and Ethan Warren is in the pits. So Dayne Warren at the death gets himself a pole position for his troubles. Thomas McMillan currently in third. I would expect that's where he's going to stay. Kurt Stenberg is in the pits. No, sorry, he's not. He is out on track, but he does have some traffic by the looks of it for his trouble. So I do not expect Kurt Stenberg will be improving. And Thomas McMillan either, judging by that lap time, and indeed he goes straight into the pits. Literally into the pits, and he's lost a tyre.
Yeah, that was prophetic of you there.
That was prophetic.
He goes straight into the pits, and no sooner had you said that.
Prophetic of me, pathetic of Thomas McMillan.
And on that note, let's take a quick break.
All the information you want about the Automobilista Supercars Championship is now all in one place. Visit asc.rocksolidmates.com for all the official ASC content, including season calendars, results and championship points, broadcast information, rules and regulations, lap records, and more. You can also get updates on our official ASC Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we go live for all championship races.
The Automobilista Supercars Championship is proudly brought to you by RSM, Rock Solid Mates, ARW, Apex Rear Wing, CW, Colin Warwick Designs, and Jinx Shifters.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bend for round 12. We have just had our qualifying session, and Dayne Warren has taken out the biscuits with a dominant, well, not dominant, he actually only pipped it right at the end of the session for a pole position over his brother by about 1/10 of a second. Thomas McMillan in third and Kurt Stenberg in fourth. So that is your top 4. Colin Warwick, Sean Allen down in 6th place. That's a lot lower than we expect to see him in. Brody
He
Steen,
does have good race pace, though. Qualifying,
he does. Very consistent.
Not as much a specialist at qualifying, but yeah.
Brody Steen, his teammate, right behind him. So at least as a team, they're consistent. Corey Preston in 8th on his return. Very good to see that. Alex Cattle in 9th in the top 10. Hayden Kruger in 10th. Zach Baker in 11th. That's very low for the ZB guys, with David Nedlich in 13th. Aiden Schultz in 14th. Steve Warwick in 15th. And Dane Liccardo in 16th. Rounds out our grid for the race. We're just hopped over into a warm-up session at the moment for, everyone to have a little pit stop of their own. get a little bit of last-minute practice in. Some practice starts, as you can see there, by Corey Preston. Probably a good idea, especially if that's the sort of start he's going to do. Doesn't want to be...
Practicing his celebrations, man.
Yeah, probably. Doesn't want to be lighting up the rears quite that much, I would expect, during his actual race start. And it gives us, as the commentators, a little bit of a break between the highs of qualifying and the highs of the race start to just sort of take a breath, take on some H2O, which is known as clear liquid.
Hydration.
Hashtag drink water, hashtag stay hydrated.
So, let's start by asking our live chat, what are your predictions for this race? And also, let's ask you, Madbird, what are your predictions for this race?
Ethan Warren.
Ethan Warren.
I'm putting it out there.
So it's one of his nights, do you reckon?
I reckon I'm putting the good energy out there for Ethan Warren.
You've written off Dayne early in the night?
Well, for race one.
For race one.
I reckon Ethan Warren will take out race one.
Well, we wrote off Ethan Warren, remember, in Townsville, and then he ended up surprising us on the last lap. No, didn't dominate it, because Dayne was dominating it, and then remember his tyres fell apart on the last lap.
I'd forgotten already, yes. Yeah, it turned out to be prophetic on our... or the opposite of prophetic on our end.
We're busy following a battle between, I think, Colin Warwick and Zach Baker, who are not the best of friends, I think it has to be said.
It does have to be said. Blair Warren's message has been retracted, so I can only assume he's decided that he doesn't want to toss one of his sons under the bus.
Yeah, fair enough.
We have spoken in the past about him waving a 50 between the two of them to give us a good battle. Matt Dunlop saying, based on qualifying pace, he'd have to say Jake Maloney, who has joined the server.
And didn't qualify.
Eagle-eyed Matt Dunlop, who's seen that Jake Maloney joined the server for the warm-up session. But as you say, he hasn't qualified, but that does not seem to be a thing that Jake Maloney needs to do.
Watch him be in podium contention and after lap two
laps.
Yeah, exactly.
He is an overtaking machine, is Jake Maloney.
And the trouble is, because we're always so focused on what's happening at the start, at the front of the grid, we always miss it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. We're going to have to go back and analyse one of his onboard laps on the first lap and just see how he does it, because it's a little bit like gravity. It's a complete mystery to me.
I reckon it's a theory. As Brody flings it into the wall.
Spin. Following the AI racing line, apparently.
I was going to say, I think race one of Townsville last round would be a good one to look at for Jake Maloney. I think he started 21st, and by the end of the first lap, he was 10th. So that's a lot of overtaking.
That is a lot of overtaking.
Blair Warren just saying, I retracted because I can't spell. I think Ethan's new livery will bring him the win.
He left the T out.
He left the T out of think.
We know what you mean, Blair.
We've got you.
Well, I mean, it's got Blair has, it has to be said, a little bit of bias probably there, because his company is on the side of Ethan's car. But
that's a very good point.
I am liking the new livery, I must say.
It is. Yeah, it looks bloody nice. Looks the biscuits.
It looks the biscuits.
It's not a term anyone's ever used. Looks the business, I think, is what I was trying to say.
Biscuits, that sounds like something out of Danger 5. Let's get right down to the biscuits. As you said, it is not round 11, it is round 12, and this is the first of 3 12-lap races around this circuit for tonight. 60 kilometres in length, and there will be, Madbird, a compulsory pit stop.
Yep, everyone has got 5 sets of tyres for both qualifying and race, so you don't want to use up too many of them in the qualifying session, but 5 is more than enough to cover the race as well. And there are 5 track cuts before you get penalised. The track record is a 1:49.4 from Ethan Warren, and I reckon, judging by the qualifying pace, that may go tonight, because they both were faster than that during qualifying. Obviously, qualifying is a little bit different to race, but it still bodes well.
So 2 of our newest liveries on the front row there. The Coanda Sim Sports livery of Dayne Warren, who is our pole sitter. And behind him is Ethan Warren with the Card FX Racing ZB. Great to see a new livery, and switching, of course, from a Ford Mustang to a ZB with the livery change as well. Behind him, we've got Thomas McMillan making a ZB top 3, and behind him, Kurt Stenberg making it a ZB top 4, and behind him, Colin Warwick making it a ZB top 5, and behind him, Sean Allen making it a Race on Oz ZB, well, a ZB top 6. Race on Oz don't own the top 5 cars. But then Brody Steen is the combo breaker there with a Mustang. But a Race on Oz car, has to be said. Those two occupying 6th and 7th place. And then we've got Corey Preston for EXG Racing in the number 98. Good to see him back in the fray. Alex Cattle from... well, he's been the satellite entry for the ZB guys. He's starting out of 9th place ahead of Hayden Kruger. Good to see another AAR car back in the fray. Unfortunately, no Luke Rosella tonight after he's done something to his eye. Zach Baker in 11th place. We're not used to seeing the ZB guys as far down as this in 11th and 13th place. RSM Latino splits them in 12th place for Rock Solid Mates. There is David Nadovich. 13th. Let's see how unlucky it is for him. Aidan Schultz in 14th place, another returnee. Good to see him back for the Bend. And then we've got father of Colin Warwick, Steve Warwick, in the second Warwick Racing ZB Commodore in 15th place. Dane Liccardo, another AAR Mustang, running out of 16th place. And then we've got Jake Maloney starting from the back. Dun, 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 dun,
But wait and see how long he stays there.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
I'm going to be on Maloney watch this race.
Good
I'm
call.
Keep an eye on him, and I'll give you frequent updates. I must say, Ethan Warren's livery, I prefer it to Dayne Warren's. That pink.
I like them both. They offset each other. They're not the same team, but
no. But that I think that pink just sort of sets the black off a little bit. It looks a little bit more evocative.
Evocative, yeah.
Evocative than Dayne Warren's.
Well, it's a colour that's it's synonymous with fast. You see it on timing screens. It lights up in that colour.
Absolutely, Blair Warren. Will T-Mac make it through turn 1?
Good question.
Very good question.
Throwing some shade, it has to be said.
Yeah, geez. Maybe he won't make it through turn 1 because he'll take out both the Warrens ahead of him.
Oh.
Let's
more shade being thrown.
Let's hope not for that.
More shade than a greenhouse right here. All right.
We are ready.
We are raring to go. This is the view from on high. And we wait for the lights. Revs are rising. You can hear the lights. And away they go. Look at Thomas McMillan. Dayne Warren didn't get away at all, and he's been punted by Thomas McMillan, and they're both at the back. One of the other guys hasn't gone as well, and Dayne Warren at the back of the grid. Unbelievable. We've got a safety car already. Jake Maloney's got himself up to 14th place, but most of that is because we've had this crash at the start, Madbird.
My goodness, I should not have said anything when I said that maybe Thomas McMillan won't make it to turn 1 because he will take the Warrens out.
Yeah, what? You've been very prophetic tonight.
I have been very prophetic. We've got a replay here of the incident, so looks like Dayne Warren just very slow on his getaway.
No, he didn't get away at all. He missed the start.
Oh, and that's...
It has to be said, I don't think Thomas can be completely put to blame for that.
No.
Because how could he expect Dayne to not move at all?
Yeah, that was. It's not even that he had a slow start. He just went nowhere.
He didn't. He didn't start.
He didn't start.
Well, boy, oh boy, we've got a race on our hands now.
Luke Rosella saying, "Oh no, they're in the fence." And
they're all in the fence.
Blair Warren saying, "I told you guys," and Matt Dunlop saying, "Guess not." So that is that's the first safety car I reckon we've had in quite some time, Stairs. I can't remember the last one I've commentated. There might have been one when Matty was...
There was one of the Townsville races that Matty commentated on. We had safety car appearances there. But what that means... Well, what does that mean? There's a lot of takeaways here. I don't know what happened to the ZB car of Zach Baker, but he...
Looked like the same thing.
He just he'd been involved as well.
Looked like he just also didn't get moving, and then when he did, he sort of collected Thomas McMillan, who was in the middle of spinning. Dayne had it in park still, says Blair Warren.
That makes sense, yeah.
So that would.
So he revved the engine and it didn't go anywhere.
That's a shame. It's also a shame for Ethan Warren, who probably saw that happen and was thinking, well, cripes, I'm I'm in with a shot here, and then saw the yellow flag start flying. And his advantage over his brother is not going to be anywhere near as big. Here's Zach Baker.
This is the onboard from Zach Baker, and the road was just completely blocked, and he didn't want to. It was actually quite patient of Zach to just sort of wait, because there were cars still making their way past, and that would have been an aeroplane crash if he had connected. So wrong place, wrong time for Zach Baker. We've had some pit callers.
Yeah, so one compulsory pit stop for this race. So a few people diving in to get it out of the way, potentially fix some damage.
Yeah, I would say so. So Thomas McMillan is in the pits, and so too Dayne Warren and Jake Maloney.
Yep, so Jake Maloney made it up to 14th, as he said, off the start, but he's now hopping into the pits. Are we... Okay, there's a green... The green in the top left of this screen made me think that we might have been back under green flags again, but
no.
I can see the safety car.
And so Ethan Warren leads the way from Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen in 3rd place. We've got Corey Preston on his return to this series in 4th. Colin Warwick is in 5th. And that is the top 5. The 3 pit callers are back on the racetrack now, and they should catch up to the train before the end of this safety car lap.
It's going to be about 9 or 10 laps on these tyres to get to the end. How long do these tyres last, Des?
Well, it's an unknown quantity.
That's true. We've not been to this track. Just Ethan Warren nearly hitting. He did a little bit of a Lewis Hamilton there.
Safety car's going too slow, evidently. Well,
we've got to speed up.
I'm actually wondering about that. Just seeing if we've had any more. I think we saw one of the... it looked like Alex Cattle had pitted, but it was just a timing glitch, I think. It's showing him in the pits in the live timing, but he is on track in 8th place, so that's a bit strange. But what I was going to say, remember how the AI sort of follows this strange janky line into turn 1? I wonder if the safety car does that.
Very well, it would do if it's just following the racing line, which is put down by the map makers.
We're still a little way from that part of the track.
We are, and hopefully the lights will be going out on the safety car this lap.
Well, I do hope that, but I also kind of want to see what's going on, whether it does it.
It just did a little bit of a wiggle there going through that corner. It is driving a tiny bit erratically.
It's a bit drunk.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's looking. He's on the brakes on the exit of a corner.
And Bernd Mylander has been on the cans prior to his being called up. He wasn't expecting a safety car.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, slowing right down.
I mean, tricky corner. It's not like it's a wide racetrack that is more or less built for Formula 1 cars.
Yeah, despite not having Formula 1 classification.
Well, they have to pay extra for Grade 1.
Ethan Warren may be going into the pits. I'm seeing the icon show up on his screen, but no, he's not.
It's a bit late now, and the safety car has stayed out too, but look at the cars who are pitting. We've had Kurt Stenberg.
He's just overtaken the safety car, Ethan Warren, and let it go back through on him.
It's not going fast enough.
It's slow. Yeah, well, here it comes. We're coming up to that section of the racetrack. See if it janks out.
Yeah, I just want to... Actually, let's go on board with Ethan to see if that happens.
It slams on the...
Whoa!
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, let's have an update on the pit lane situation. Both the Race on Oz cars trying to make their pit stop there. We've also had Kurt Stenberg come in, and then behind them, so Brody Steen and Sean Allen, Zach Baker, Corey Prest, Alex Cattle,
Kurt
and Dane
Stenberg
Liccardo.
with a drive-through penalty.
Oh, he's not going to be happy.
He's sped in the pit. He's already on a bit of a...
There's no need to speed in the pits.
He's already on a bit of a down run of form. Is Kurt Stenberg, so he will be very unhappy with that one.
Once again, sorry to cut across you there, Madbird, but this was Ethan Warren ahead of the safety car. Did you catch it on this replay? Yeah, here we go. Look, he stops, and Ethan just avoids it.
Very well done, actually, from Ethan Warren. I would probably be giving the safety car an even wider berth. And it looks like he is. He's giving it a few car lengths worth in order to react, because my goodness.
All right. Well, let's hope that Pastor Maldonado comes in on this lap, and then we can get a race underway. Yeah, I wouldn't, a man, if we had Team Radio, Ethan Warren would be saying, the safety car's not going fast enough.
Yeah.
And then not only that, he's driving erratically.
And then presumably Colin Warwick would pull out from behind Ethan Warren and bang tyres with them and then he'd get a penalty for it, and then they'd be, oh, it's for dangerous driving, and he'd say, when was I driving dangerous?
Yeah.
One of my favourite Sebastian Vettel moments, to be honest. I know it wasn't. It was sort of not on, but just the raw, like, he just punched him with his Formula 1 car.
He did, didn't he?
Just something about it just tickles me.
I think Ethan's missed the boat here by not pitting.
He has, I reckon, yeah, because
look where Dayne is. He's the first car in the queue that has made his compulsory pit stop, and he's all the way up to 8th because of all the other cars behind him having made their pit stops. So
yeah,
Ethan Warren right through to Steve Warwick, they all need to pit again, and that puts Dayne in the catbird seat.
Catbird seat, unless the tyres just cannot make the remaining laps of this race. But there's only 9 laps in this race at this stage.
Yeah, the only question now is on tyre life.
Which, well, I mean, it will be interesting for us, I guess, if the tyres all do explode towards the end of the race because they pit so early.
Here is vision of said catbird seat.
Can safety cars get drive-through penalties?
I think he deserves a stop-go.
He deserves to stop for the rest of the race in the pit lane.
Well, let's hope he peels off this time to serve that stop-go.
It looks like Ethan Warren is giving him a fair bit of space, so maybe he's gotten the notification that he's coming in this lap.
No,
nope.
Doesn't look
Continuing
like
on around. So
and then Colin comes in.
So that, yeah, Ethan really should have ducked in just then, because and he's nearly done it again.
Yeah.
He's gonna be at the mercy of the ones who have already pit.
Well, look at it's almost the whole field now.
Yep.
Because we've had another 5 cars come in on this lap.
Dayne Warren is now up to 4th. So Ethan Warren, Hayden Kruger, and RSM Latino, the only runners out there who have not been through the pit lane as yet. So
Ethan's going to end up at the back of the queue.
I worry about this for Ethan. I reckon he should have dove straight in when he finished his first lap, but. Obviously, it's easy to say from here in the commentary box. Who knew that the safety car was going to stick out for 4 laps?
So, Colin Warwick, David Nenadich, Aidan Schultz, Zach Baker, and Steve Warwick came in on that lap. And as far as I'm aware, that just leaves Ethan Warren, Hayden Kruger, and RSM Latino who haven't made their pit stops.
That's correct.
Just 3. Oh my goodness. I mean, you've got to expect that to happen on the last lap.
You've got to expect that to happen.
Good question, Blair. Who is driving the safety car? Well, yes, it appears that the racing line, which the safety car follows, has not been optimised for this mod.
Circa 2016 Max Verstappen. I'm trying to think of drivers who drive like tools. Esteban Ocon at Brazil. Sergio Perez.
He's alright.
No, I believe there was. Oh no, it wasn't Sergio Perez. It was Sergio Perez was getting annoyed because someone else was driving very defensively at Singapore, but I can't remember who it was.
Oh, I think it was that Russian driver. What's his name? Sirotkin.
Oh, Sirotkin, yeah. And like, power to him. He was just doing a very good defensive job. Then Sergio was on the radio going, "Oh, this is dangerous."
I think that just goes to show how I'm going to give Perez the benefit of the doubt here, but perhaps the tropical heat was getting to him, and he lost his mind. He did lose his mind. He went for some ridiculous move after that.
He did,
which was unrelated to Sergey, but someone else paid for it. I think it was Grosjean or something.
Oh, so no one of import.
No, exactly.
As we're coming,
have you seen that clip of just like it's a cut of David Croft saying Grosjean, overtake Grosjean, then crashes into Grosjean. Oh, Grosjean's caused that accident. That's really unfortunate for Grosjean.
No, but that sounds fantastic. I'll have to hunt that up. So we're towards the. Oh my god, that's actually. Yeah.
This is going to create a Mugello-like start line incident with the car checking up all the time, and then everyone behind not really knowing why all of a sudden everyone in front of them has stopped.
I reckon if the safety car had only stayed out for a lap or two, then not pitting might have been not a bad move. But now that it's been out for almost for a third of the race. I think tyre wear is going to be pretty much negated.
Yeah, well, they only have to make them last 8 laps now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ethan surely, at the moment, if he pits this lap, which I think is his best opportunity, he's got to hope that the safety car comes in this lap.
Staying out, going. Okay, so Ethan pits now, but it's too late. He's going to come out at the end.
Why is the safety car staying out for 4 laps?
For 5 laps. The incident happened at the start of lap 1.
Oh, and there's
we're
been
now,
some incident here with Jake Maloney. Sorry, Madbird.
No, you're
Cutting
fine.
across it.
We're now into lap. Jake Maloney's up into 4th, by the way.
Yeah, this is a bit like we had a race in Baku in our Apex Rear Wing.
I think everyone. Oh, Dayne Warren. What was looking like he was fainting for the pit lane and then decided not to.
This is what happened to Jake Maloney. He got checked up with Dayne Warren and RSM Latino, which I think was just a carryover
from the safety car. I reckon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it does have a problem there. Now someone's missed their box behind Ethan Warren. It looks like Corey Preston. Which I think that's probably just a lack of practice, perhaps.
So, as we're gonna
just a replay of what happened. So he overshot his box and then had to reverse to get back in.
Oh,
not that it wouldn't have cost him his position. He was already behind Ethan Warren. Anywho. So that leaves Hayden Kruger in the lead of the race.
Who is the only man who is not pit. Oh, and RSM Latino, actually.
Yeah, RSM Latino.
Who is still
So Dayne Warren is back on the podium by virtue of...
Well, he's back in the box seat to win it, despite being spun out.
Despite having a crash on the first...
Before he even started the race.
We haven't had a single corner of racing action, but we've still had enough drama for the whole night.
We've been talking.
Somehow.
That's for sure.
We've been talking.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
We've been talking.
So, you know, absolute scenes here at the Bend.
Incredible scenes.
You know, here we were riding off the Bend as a boring racetrack. It turns out you don't even need to have any racing to make it an interesting race.
You can just have 6 laps of trundling around behind the safety car. Now, Hayden Kruger needs to give the safety car a lot more girth than he's giving it.
Yeah, girth. Well, has he been watching the girth that Ethan's been giving the safety car? You nearly spat on my keyboard there. But it's going to be one interesting restart.
I can barely keep my eyes off the girth that Ethan Warren has been.
Wow.
Oh.
Gonna let that one go. Throw to the keeper.
Hope that Blair wasn't listening to that one.
You know what I hope, man?
What do you hope? That the safety car's coming in this lap?
You read my mind.
My goodness, let's hope so. We're through the second sector of this racetrack. If you'd like to see the train on
We're not far from the second half of this race.
If you'd like to see the train that is formed behind the safety car, go to rsmclanau.liveraces.com as they're snaking their way through turns 13 and now 14. Hayden Kruger has learned and is giving the safety car one hell of a big gap.
One man who's going to hope the safety car comes in sooner rather than later is Kurt Stenberg, because he can't serve his drive-through penalty that he got for speeding in the pit lane until it comes in.
So, Jake Maloney,
4th place,
second place once the two of
in
front pit
started in 17th.
So it took what, one corner, not even one corner of racing technically for Jake Maloney to find himself on the podium.
I suppose technically.
Safety car is in.
Is he in?
He's in. He's in. Oh my goodness!
We're going to get some
race.
racing, and look at the start that Hayden Kruger's got, but he hasn't actually got the green flag yet. Dayne Warren's already up to second place behind him.
I hope that there was a green flag before, and Hayden Kruger gets a drive-through penalty.
But never mind that. Jake Maloney swoops by into the lead. Dayne Warren on the outside, and Jake Maloney locks it up. Is he going to go wide? Cold. Yes, he is. And Dayne Warren is into the lead of the race. What scenes!
Incredible scenes. Jake Maloney, you can see there, just rejoining the track behind him. Hayden Kruger with 2 drive-through penalties.
What's happened to Jake Maloney?
Jake Maloney's just stopped. He's hit something. He's DNF'd out of this race. So from last on the grid to the podium to DNF in one racing corner. What's happened? Has he blown his engine trying to shift down?
There's nothing for him to hit.
Unless there's a geometry bug there or something. No, he's just pulled over.
He did have engine. He did have an engine.
He did have an engine. Maybe his wife suddenly needed donuts. Another drive-through penalty for Hayden Kruger.
How do you get so many drive-through penalties for...
What is happening? I thought that he would have gotten one for going too early, perhaps. And another one. What is... Okay, incredible
glitch.
Scenes.
Whoa, David Nenadich there. There's side-by-side action going on here between himself, Aidan Schultz, Zach Baker. Meanwhile, we've got... is that Steve or Colin Warwick there holding off David Nenadich? It's Colin Warwick. So Colin Warwick's down there in 9th place. The order's all shuffled. I don't know why the game keeps giving drive-through penalties to Hayden Kruger.
Poor man is going to be going through the pit lane for the remainder of the night. I reckon it's done.
He still actually leads the race.
There we go. He does still lead the race.
Why is Dayne Warren in 3rd?
So Dayne Warren, RSM Latino, remember, has not pit also. So
Yeah, but they got them on the start.
But did they?
Yeah.
I am not sure. So we'll see if we can get a replay of what's happened. Hayden Kruger actually has quite a good lead if he didn't have about 55 drive-through penalties.
Here's the replay. So Dayne was ahead of him. He's in the lead of the race at this point. Oh no. Oh no. Kurt.
Oh.
So it's like he's let them through. I don't know.
Maybe he overtook before the start-finish line, perhaps.
Just covering his bases. But meanwhile, Hayden Kruger's going to have a drive-through. So I don't know why there's a stop-go for Kurt Stenberg. That's come completely out of the blue.
Kurt Stenberg is not going to be happy.
They get 5 track cuts, so I can't imagine it's for track cuts. And anyway, I'm pretty sure that's a drive-through. So current order is Hayden Kruger from RSM Latino. Both of those two need to make a pit stop.
So he's stopped getting drive-through penalties at least.
So Dayne Warren is going to be the effective leader of the race once the two ahead make their pit stop. Hayden Kruger has about 6 drive-through penalties. Whether or not those are legitimate, we still don't know. And then we've got Thomas McMillan in 4th and Sean Allen in 5th. So those two will inherit the podium spots. Everyone else has made their pit stops.
Remember what we said about Sean Allen being good in the race?
Ethan Warren's DNF'd. I don't know why that has happened.
No, maybe just frustration after... Like, honestly, when that happened, when the start of this race occurred, I was like, well, Ethan Warren's got this. And then the 5 laps under the safety car before he decided to pit. Here we go. So we're going to replay. Looks like a tangle with the ZB guys.
Yeah, let's get the vision. Oh, 3 into 1 doesn't go.
He
actually made that, so it was after that he must have got involved in an accident. Ah, here we go.
Oh.
David Netter just ping-ponged off Zach Baker and into Ethan Warren, who went straight into the wall, and that was not a rage quit. The wheel disappeared off that car. There's not many spots where you can hit a wall at the Bend, but Ethan Warren unfortunately became the victim of one.
Not sure if that was a bit of contact between himself and David Netter that sent the ZB guy around, which then went into him. It looked like a pretty messy corner from all 3 of them. So
shame.
It is a shame. Hayden Kruger is making his drive-through penalty, as looks like Thomas McMillan...
And RSM Latino's making his pit stop as well.
Thomas McMillan defending from Sean Allen. This is for 2nd place now that those two have pit. Thomas McMillan in 2nd and Sean Allen in 3rd. Sean Allen trying to cut up the inside, coming out of turn 1.
Pit stop from Hayden Kruger.
And he almost has. He's gone. He's done it very well done to Sean Allen. Some incredible grip. And Thomas McMillan trying his best to fight back, coming through turn 4.
So that was, sorry Madbird, that was a pit stop for Hayden Kruger. He hasn't served the penalty.
Maybe he's hoping that someone will remove them, because I honestly don't know why he has them.
No, I don't either. It's very strange. But
Maybe
that has cleansed the field. So Dayne Warren now leads legitimately, with Sean Allen and Thomas McMillan, as we said, inheriting the podium spots. Colin Warwick, he was 9th a few moments ago.
Yeah.
All this action and attrition has seen him go up into 5th place. And Alex Cattle doing a great job in 6th.
I wonder if Dayne Warren was expecting to be in the lead of the race at any point tonight after when he felt Thomas McMillan right up his rear.
And it has to be said, Thomas McMillan's done pretty well out of it.
Yeah, the ones who were involved in the accident have actually come out quite well.
Yeah, David Nedetic has retired from the race, so one can only assume that's got something to do with the damage that was sustained in that accident with his teammate and Ethan Warren. Geez, I'm proud of us for catching up with what's going on.
I reckon we've done quite well.
There's been a lot of action.
Because we amp ourselves up before the race starts to get our minds in gear, and then we had about 5 laps of not really anything to talk about, and we've done very well to kick ourselves back into gear, I think. So Sean Allen actually quite close behind Dayne Warren.
I was going to say, speaking of kicking up into gear, Sean Allen's got a decent turn of pace, and I don't know whether Dayne is sandbagging or whether he's gone for a harder tyre or something.
Fastest lap from Sean Allen.
My guess is that Dayne went for a harder tyre. Remember, he pit very early, and at that stage he was expecting probably a lot more green flag laps. And Sean Allen might have just taken a punt and gone for the soft tyre.
Because he's all over him, and this is definitely not reflective of Dayne Warren's pace. Sean Allen trying to go around the outside of turn 3.
Thomas McMillan as well, having a bit of action. He's had an off at turn 1 and is coming under quite a bit of pressure from Colin Warwick and Brody Steen behind him, but will stay on this lead battle as Kurt Stenberg sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yep, right down in 14th is Kurt Stenberg. After his stop-go penalty and his drive-through, he would be spitting chunks in that particular race helmet.
My goodness, this battle for 3rd place is on. Look at this, Thomas McMillan and Brody Steen, who manages to get around the outside here of Colin Warwick.
I can only assume that Thomas McMillan's done the same thing that you've predicted for Dayne Warren, put the hard tyres on because he thought that they'd be racing a lot longer.
Now we're also dealing with a little bit of lag at the moment. That's why the cars are sliding across the screen. I don't know why that's happening. It's not an issue that we've had for the best part of 18 months, and it happens in one of the best races we've seen all year.
So Dayne Warren only just ahead of Sean Allen as they come through the towards the second half of this, or sorry, the last few corners of the track. 4 laps left to go, and Sean Allen, I reckon, is going to have it down the enormous start-finish straight and into turn 1 if he can get it stopped in time. Thomas McMillan doing very well to keep defending that third position. Brody Steen all over the back of him and tries to go around the outside at turn, I reckon that's turn 17.
Yeah, that's turn 17.
As the leaders are going through turn 18 to start the start-finish straight. Sean Allen, Dayne Warren going very defensive. Sean Allen trying to go around the outside, coming down into turn 1.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult with the lag. I'm hoping the drivers aren't seeing it like we are, because it is going to be a bit difficult to make a judgment call as Brody Steen locks up and goes into the side there of Thomas McMillan. Colin Warwick is going to slide his way through and quite potentially could be in the podium, but Thomas McMillan rejoins just ahead of him. Meanwhile, at the front, Dayne Warren is holding on by his fingernails from Sean Allen, who wants to wrestle some points back and keep himself in the championship hunt.
He's going down the inside at turn 6, and there's about a car's width there. Sean Allen forces the issue just a little bit, runs Dayne Warren a tiny bit wide, and he's still around the outside as they come through the long turn 7, 8, and 9 complex, but he has to slip in behind before turn 10. So Sean Allen, Dayne Warren doing an incredible job to defend on these harder tyres.
Whoops. Now, what have we got behind? It is Colin Warwick, who manages to get the job done on Brody Steen, and Thomas McMillan has fallen back down to 5th. I think Alex Cattle just had a bit of a mistake because Zach Baker has gone up into the position previously held by Alex Cattle, and the lead is still under dispute here. Sean Allen trying his best to take it away from Dayne Warren, who we think has gone for the harder tyres, having pit on the first lap of the race after having the car in park at the start of the race, or neutral, and getting punted by Thomas McMillan, who's currently sits in 5th place.
Sean Allen trying his level best to throw the car everywhere that Dayne Warren does not want it to be. Tries to go around the outside at turn 17, gets up the inside, coming down towards turn 18. Sean Allen might have the job done, and he does, coming through the last corner, but that means that Dayne Warren's going to have an almighty slipstream all the way down this long straight into turn 1. Sean Allen's going to have to do his very best to defend. He commits to the outside. He's not going defensive. Dayne Warren has to try to go down the inside on those harder tyres. Will he be able to get it stopped in time? Don't worry about that lag. Hopefully that is not what the drivers are seeing. He goes very deep, does Dayne Warren. Sean Allen manages to go around the inside of turn 2 and then back into the lead, but Dayne Warren tries to cut up the inside, coming out of turn 3.
Sean just went a little bit deep, but he manages to get a bit better grip with those softer tyres, and did a great effort there to hold on to the position. If he can just gap Dayne Warren a little bit through this section, then it's a bit difficult to tell there. It looks like Sean went wide, but there is some lag involved as well. Behind them, Colin Warwick is holding off Brody Steen for the final spot on the podium, but you can understand us wanting to look at this battle. I think Sean Allen has just broken a few car lengths away through this middle sector, and if he can just break the toe a little bit before they get to the start-finish straight, I don't want to say home and dry, but he'll be well on his way.
He'll be on the bus home and toweling himself.
Well, not quite. I don't want to say that. That's my point.
Well, that's he's on the way to being home and dry, but he's not quite there yet. So, anything could happen. The bus could crash.
The hose is being readied.
Meanwhile, Colin Warwick has done very well in the Blackshaws Warwick Racing ZB to get himself up into 3rd place.
Yeah, it's a great job from him so far.
Thomas McMillan down into 8th now, so just falling away. Is that a Pleb Sim sports car?
Yeah, I wonder if he's made a mistake somewhere, just pushing on those harder tyres. The grip's not there. We've seen Dayne do amazing things on hard tyres this year, but Sean Allen is an incredibly consistent driver, and he's taking advantage of the speed that he's got.
Yeah, he's got enough of a gap now that he doesn't have to look in his rearview mirror too much to see where Dayne is, and I reckon he can just settle in now and ride out this last lap of the race. We're on lap 12, Stairs.
Yep, final lap.
My goodness. Considering that half of the race wasn't really even a race, this has been incredibly exciting.
I like it when unexpected things happen.
As do I.
And unexpected stuff has happened in this race, I think it is quite fair to say. Everyone's sort of spreading out a little bit now, but Sean Allen with a 1.7 second lead. If he doesn't make a mistake, he should be able to take this one home if he doesn't go deep. That might be just his line there.
He's jingling his keys and he's rubbing the last of the wetness out of his hair.
Such analogy.
I'm belaboring this analogy somewhat.
Cool story, bro, says Mr. D. Beachy.
Love your work, Mr. D. Beachy. Also, Matt Dunlop said maybe his wife suddenly needed donuts. I don't know if I've missed some insider knowledge, but my sides are in orbit.
Fantastic.
That was a joke from a different league.
Lewis Wedding.
Yes.
Yes.
Had to bail on a race because his wife desperately wanted donuts.
I don't think it was his wife.
Oh.
It was his girlfriend.
Ah.
Perhaps wife at the time.
Well,
I don't know.
his partner.
Church bells are ringing for the man whose last name starts, is Wedding.
Yeah, you can't be called Wedding on Facebook because Facebook thinks that he's a business.
Very good.
Sean
Allen, final sector for the man who manages to, he's broken Dayne Warren. Dayne Warren, it looked like it was all over for him. Now, I think he's actually coming under a bit of pressure from Colin Warwick here, who might be able to snatch second place from the Coanda Sim Sports driver, but it is Sean Allen who's going to come around the final corner and make his run to the line to become the first driver other than a Warren brother to win the Bend Motorsport Park, as Dayne Warren hangs on for second ahead of Colin Warwick. A great podium for Colin, and behind him Brodie Steen in fourth. We had Zach Baker finish in fifth. A great haul of points for Alex Cattle, and then behind him on his return Corey Preston finishes seventh. Thomas McMillan goes very, very wide out of the final corner there. After doing most of the race on those tyres, he comes home for eighth, ahead of Aidan Schultz, and Steve Warwick rounds out the top 10.
Bloody marvellous. Colin Warwick very close there at the end, but not quite close enough. And Sean Allen, probably starting out of eighth, was not expecting to come home. Starting out of sixth, I think he was not expecting to come home in first place. But I imagine he will not complain. The remainder of the runners being Dane Licciardo in 11th, Kurt Stenberg in 12th after that drive-through penalty and a stop-go. He would be gutted, considering what could have been in one of those races where everything was mixed up all over the shop. Hayden Kruger in 13th and RSM Latino, so obviously the two that did not pit under safety car suffering and coming home in the last two places, with David Edich, Ethan Warren and Jake Maloney all DNFs through the first race here at the Bend. My goodness, Stairs.
So this racetrack remains one that Dayne Warren hasn't won, which there isn't many.
Very true. As we get a little bit more lag there, and we cut away. So my prediction...
cut away so you wouldn't talk about it.
Oh, my bad. Ethan Warren. My prediction that Ethan Warren would take out race one certainly. Well,
You know what? The prediction that you made that was probably harder to make, though, was Thomas McMillan hitting Dayne
Thomas
Warren.
McMillan not making it through turn one because
You made
he
that
took
prediction. I'm still astounded by that.
In fairness, I said both of the Warrens, so I wasn't 100% correct.
You're
but
50% correct.
50% correct. I'm pretty happy with that. And also terrified of my powers. But
what are you predicting for race 2, Mad Bird?
Oh, I don't even know. We've got a qualifying session yet to go, don't we?
We do.
For race number 2.
And
so once we've seen the qualifying results, I'll give my prediction / curse.
Very good. Thanks to Dr. Beachy. Mr. Beachy, I'm giving you a promotion.
Master Beachy.
Glad to hear you're enjoying the commentary. We certainly aim to entertain ourselves, and if we can entertain a few others along the way, then that is merely a bonus.
Absolutely. And my goodness, don't we entertain ourselves?
Yeah, it's just luck that some of you enjoy the ride. If you didn't, then we'd probably still do it, I suppose.
Yeah, and if you don't enjoy it, but you're still here, props to you. You're a bigger man than I probably would be.
What's your favourite moment so far tonight, Mad Bird?
Probably Thomas McMillan hitting Dayne Warren. On the
Not that you wish carnage upon our runners that put hours of
Goodness me, no. But it's just it's one of those visceral reactions when I saw it happen. All the events were running through my head, thinking, well, this means Ethan Warren and co at the front are going to have a cracking battle, which will be for the lead.
And that did not
And then that did not happen. I was not expecting the safety car, to be honest.
The luckiest thing that happened for Ethan Warren was that start, but then nothing lucky happened to him after that. It just went downhill.
In fairness, I'm not sure if it was luck or just himself. He chose not to pit.
That's true.
So if he had pit on the end of that first lap, we would probably be talking about him winning the race at the moment. So
one of the weaknesses of the Warren brothers in the past has probably been their pit strategy in these Automobilista races, and maybe it can be said that that's a little bit of a what's the word?
Achilles heel.
Well, I was going to say maybe a godsend, because if they had their strategy down pat, they'd be completely unbeatable.
Godsend for it's almost like a Xeris in Apex Rear Wing. He can't fathom pit strategy for the life of him, and it's the only thing that keeps everyone else in touch.
Mr. Beachy asking if we've got a highlights package. We don't have the resources to put together a highlights package in such quick time, but what we can do is tell you what happened.
Or you can scrub back through the live stream.
Yes, we do have the replay option enabled, so you should be able to go back a certain distance and watch it, even if it's only at 140p. But from the start,
some very colourful blobs.
We had about 6 laps under safety car after Thomas McMillan collided with Dayne Warren, who didn't manage to have the car in gear when the race started. And as a result, everyone took their compulsory pit stop under the safety car, apart from about 3 runners, including Ethan Warren, who then got tangled up in an incident after that. We're now going to roll on into qualifying. And we had an incredibly shuffled grid, Madbird, as a result, and that resulted in the tremendous race that we did see.
Yeah, and the runners who did pit very early, who probably would have walked away with it had they known that the safety car was going to be out for so long and had put on some softer tyres, were on the hard tyres, which are much slower, and so we're able to be hunted down by the likes of Sean Allen and everyone up through 7th for Thomas McMillan. So. Ouch indeed, Mr. D. Beachy.
We didn't think we'd see any hard tyre running today because there's no requirement to. We were a bit disappointed actually reading the rules. We thought, we liked that when they tried it in Darwin.
Yeah, you have to run the hard tyres for at least one of the 3 races.
I'm sure they had their reasons.
I'm sure they did. Whether they're good reasons, but everyone is diving out for qualifying for race number 2. Looks like they've all managed to do it without hitting the wall, so that is...
Oh, you'd hope so.
That is...
This is wide enough to be a Formula 1 pit lane.
What happened to your mate Kurt, Mr. D. Beachy? I believe he sped in the pit lane, which gave him a drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
And then he also got a stop-go penalty, which I'm not sure what that was for.
No, we'll have to get to the bottom of that at some point.
Hopefully he gets on the podium at some stage tonight so that we can ask him.
Good to see Ethan Warren back after DNFing from the first race.
Jake Maloney has chosen not to show up for qualifying, so I guess...
What else is new?
I guess we'll see if he shows up during the warm-up session miraculously. And presumably would be quite buoyed by the fact that he didn't even do any racing in the first race and still managed to be in a podium position when he DNF'd.
So, Kurt, I remember at the beginning of the year saying that the number 1 has been bad luck for him in the past, and it has... I mean, from the start of the year, it's been bad luck for him. Do you remember that race in Adelaide where he couldn't make the start because there was a flash storm in his home city, Perth?
Yep.
And then he raced to his mate's house who still had power after his power went out, and then he got there and the power was I think the power was out, or he heard that the power was on back home and he rushed back home and then
it went out again. Yep.
Scenes.
Absolute scenes. Where has that come from? Absolute scenes.
My friend our friend Heath Dixon mentioned it after they
incredible scenes.
They had some incredible scenes on the weekend in an OOR race in Suzuka.
Online racing 8 hours of Suzuka in Assetto Corsa Competizione.
So Ethan Warren has been the class of the field in qualifying in this round so far.
Well, Dayne Warren pipped him for pole position at the very end of the first qualifying
You're
session.
right, my apologies.
But he was up until that point.
I retract my statement.
But I guess we'll see if he manages to make good on that now, as he is starting his hot lap.
Oh, wiggling under brakes there, isn't it?
It is. I wonder if that's why the AI takes such a funny line there. If that's because it's such a hard braking zone, they sort of wigs them out, to use a cool guy phrase.
Oh yeah. Is that do cool guys say that term?
I'm not sure. There's a lot. Actually, I'm beginning to doubt the realism of this particular rendition of the Bend, because I can see some trees. Which
right. I can also see green grass.
I can. Yes, that's very true. Not just brown dead dirt and weeds. It'd be nice if they planted some things.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
They're very keen to build the racetrack, just not very keen to make it look attractive.
I'd like to see a mod of Old Talem Town, which is a fantastic facility just up the other side of. If you know Talem Bend and you know where the Bend is, about an equal distance on the other side of the great town of Talem Bend is Old Talem Town, run by a very nice old man who helped my housemate by providing him with a location in which to shoot his film, Dead Center. Not out yet.
Excellent film.
Yeah.
I look forward
Web
to
series.
rewatching it once again. Web series even.
Yeah.
So Ethan Warren is on the very end of this lap. He's just gone through turn 17, coming up to turn 18 now. And his brother Dayne is currently just going... He's 2/10 down on the time that Ethan Warren set through the second sector.
Mr. Beachy says, like dope? Not particularly, but I do think it should be legalised.
Oh, that's tickled me. That's nice, he says in response.
Don't necessarily think he agrees with me, but, that's alright. We're allowed to disagree.
Absolutely. Very much so.
So, Dayne Warren is a 10th away from his brother Ethan at the moment. Just 8 times on the board so far.
Yes, indeed.
Who are we waiting on times for? Sean Allen, currently on a lap by the looks of it. See if we can pick up him to see where he slots into.
So he was only good enough for 6th in the first qualifying session. So he would be hoping to improve on that. He's about to come through the second sector split here, right around 13 seconds. He's well down, about a second and a half by the looks of it.
1.3. That's going to put him between Colin Warwick and Corey Preston.
Which would
Race
be
winner in race 1 though.
Which would be 6th place. So that is at the very least consistent.
Not wrong.
Yes, indeed.
And then we're also waiting on times from David Nedovich and Dane Liccardo of our grid of 16. So we're just going to see Sean Allen finish this lap, and that will give us a bit of an idea. Oh, he's lost time. He's gone back to 8th place. So another 3/10 going, begging for Sean Allen in the final sector. Now look at Dayne Warren's personal best time. That is consistency.
He's up. He must be up by whatever the next one down from 1,000th is. A 10th of that 10,000th of a second. Because it was green, even though it was showing 0.000. So one of the further along decimal places must have been
Traffic
less. Yeah, a little bit of traffic. Looks like Alex Cattle just ahead of him as they come through the last corner. So shouldn't cost him too much.
Might even get a tow. Oh, he's peeling off.
Oh, he's peeling off.
And in fact, he's given up on that lap as well. So there's a flurry of activity on the pits. We've got Thomas McMillan coming into the pits as well, as we have this sort of lull just before the last 3 minutes of qualifying start.
3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining.
Dane Liccardo setting his first qualifying lap. In fact, he has put down a time. No, he hasn't. Yes, he has. Yeah. It's a 1:54. So it's just David Nedovich we're waiting on.
In that big mate.
Oh, look at this. Whoa. This is like Richard Scarey's Busy Town.
In Busy World. Lots of things to do and see. It's so much fun to be a part of Busy Town.
Busy one. I wonder if anyone watching ever watched that as a kid.
Shout out in the chat if you watched Richard Scary.
Available on Amazon Prime.
Is it actually?
It is actually.
Oh my god, I might have to go home and binge some of that.
Good cartoons. When cartoons were real cartoons.
Based off of books.
I had one of those books. It was one of my favourites.
quite popular even now in the library system. So always good to see the classics getting some appreciation. As Colin Warwick, that was very deep.
I think Dayne Warren said it fastest middle sector, although no, that's an out-of-date timing thing I'm looking at. Dayne's on an outlap at the moment, which is what I thought was the case. So we're kind of waiting for the times to start popping up, the sector times to start popping up as these final laps of qualifying get underway.
Popping up like a fast-growing mushroom. You can see it
rising.
Oh, BT.
Yes.
Classic. would you call it light rain, Richard? I'd call it more of a fluffy precipitation.
Very specific.
Oh my goodness, what a dick. You know, I was talking about this with someone at work today. I'm not a fan of any of the commentators for football since Dennis
Never
Cometti.
been the same since Dennis Cometti left.
No. Bruce is...
I used to like Bruce, but he's become a caricature of himself.
I like Bruce when he's with someone like Dennis Cometti, but...
He doesn't add any insight anymore. He just has the same sort of 4 or 5 cliches that he keeps using.
Oh, how about that, eh? Oh.
You just feel like... Next goal, really important. I think since Cyril Rioli retired, he's not been the same.
It's not been the same, no. Well, love of his life, you know. How can you blame him?
Exactly right. Ethan Warren has just started a qualifying lap, which will be his last of this qualifying session, as there is not going to be enough time left for another one.
So, is Dayne Warren out on a hot lap?
He's about to start one now, coming across the line at the moment.
Watching Kurt Stenberg, who is currently sitting in 4th, and he will be wanting a much better race 2 than he had race 1.
I think Brody Steen's going to be the last man across the line to set a lap.
Yes. Yeah, next...
Because there's no one behind him on the live timing.
No one in the second half of the track.
Ethan Warren's found half a tenth on his lap. Kurt Stenberg is up by nearly a tenth on his PB, and that's actually quite good. That'll put him somewhere near the front of the grid if he can keep that going. Keeping an eye on multiple drivers at the moment, Madbird and myself.
Yeah, Dayne Warren has gone faster through the first sector by about a tenth of a second over his brother Ethan.
My goodness. It's happening.
So it is happening. If you were to open up rsmclanau.liveraces.com, you would see little fire trails following both first and second, because they're both on the fastest lap so far of the session.
Ethan found a tenth of a second on his already provisional pole time. Kurt Stenberg is up by a tenth on his time, which would jump him up into 3rd place. But of course, we've also got Thomas McMillan on a lap at the moment. But it was purple sector for Dayne in the first sector and a purple sector for Ethan in the second sector. Yeah,
Dayne not managing to match him in the second sector, so if Ethan can have a strong last sector, he might be able to hold on to this pole position.
Let's see what Kurt does.
Oh, very messy from Kurt Stenberg.
Ethan improves.
And Kurt
into the wall, into the wall.
Oh, he will be gutted by that. And let's hope those yellow flags don't distract anyone coming through the last corner. So Ethan does improve.
Oh, and Dayne's gone into the pits.
So Dayne has given up on that one. So maybe, I'm not sure if something happened or if he got distracted by that accident of Kurt Stenberg. Kurt would be... That is not what he wanted to have happening to him.
I don't think he was distracted.
A little bit of a messy exit, and I guess he just decided, well, that's the 10th of a second advantage I had.
He must have realised, because he would have had a delta on his screen. And
Kurt Stenberg just lit it up on the curb coming out of that last corner, straight into the wall. The only bit of wall really that he could have hit. He did hit.
What a shame.
If he'd gone a little bit to the right, he would have just gone off into the fields of Talon.
And in the end, ends up 5,000ths adrift of Thomas McMillan.
Oh, that is bloody close. Thomas McMillan done very well, actually.
And that ends up being, apart from the Warren brothers swapping positions, the exact same top 4 we had in qualifying for the first race.
So Thomas McMillan will be looking at the rear of a different Warren and licking his lips.
Probably asking Ethan how his gear changing skills are.
Yeah, I hope you know how to switch out of neutral.
Well, no, I was in neutral because they would have just finished their warm-up lap, so why wouldn't you just leave it in first?
Because I think when you finish a formation lap, it does like sort of slot you into your grid spot and it puts you down into neutral, I think.
It's been so long since I've played
I
Automobilista.
know, me too. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it does like lock you into your slot and change you into neutral. But I guess it's easier to just put it in neutral and rev it rather than trying to hold down the brake and the throttle. Perhaps.
Maybe.
A preference thing.
Could be. That bird.
Round 11, it is not. Round 12, it is. And 12 is how many laps we have here for race number 2.
Sounds like a riddle.
At the Bend Motorsport Park. And there aren't 12 corners, unfortunately. That'd be very satisfying if there were. There are 18 corners. Ethan Warren with the track record of a 49.459. I didn't even pay attention during the first race if that was broken or not, but probably was. And 2019 winners were Ethan Warren and Ethan Warren, joined now by 2020 winner Sean Allen, and 2 yet to be decided.
We jumped the gun on that graphic because it's actually the warm-up session we're in now. Not quite race session just yet.
Now the viewers have got the information.
We do. We don't need to give it to them again.
No. Goodness me, no, there's a helicopter.
It
all
is.
the way over from Adelaide.
I'm sure they've got ones. Would they fly it all the way over from Adelaide, or would they have ones nearby, ready to go?
I mean, they presumably have one
At a
at the
moment's
track
notice.
ready for the race, but I imagine they would be stored in Adelaide,
Potentially.
or another small airfield nearby that would probably show up as a small white dot on the world map in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020.
There we go. 1 hour, 38 minutes, 17 seconds. We got through that without bringing up Microsoft Flight Simulator.
I haven't been playing it much lately, so it's not on my brain.
Have you not had much time to yourself?
Haven't had much time, and I've also been waiting for a...
Mate?
oh my god, that's a blast from the past. Waiting for a mate. No, you're not. You've had an accident.
No, I haven't. What's your name? James.
I'm waiting for...
Who are you waiting for? James.
There's a... Classic. Always...
Officers know he's lying because he just said that he was waiting for a mate called James.
Cerebral work from Highway Patrol.
Marvellous. Impossible for two people to have the same name.
There's a website called FS Economy where you can...
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yes, which I'm waiting for. I think a man we're both familiar with by the name of Squirrel did a video involving FS Economy, and I think they had such an influx of new registrations that it crashed their servers. So
it's like trying to be a West Coast Eagles member. You got to wait. You got to go on a list.
Do you actually?
Apparently.
For the West Coast Eagles of all teams.
This is why our friend Bagsy is a Fremantle fan, having recently moved to the great state of Western Australia and having two teams to pick from. The main reason he chose Fremantle is because he didn't have to go on a list to become a member of said team.
As a long-term Fremantle supporter, I welcome him.
Oh yeah, he's a long-term supporter of pretty much
every team.
Any team that
any team that can give you a scarf, he has got one and will support you.
Very loyal to all 17 AFL teams. Are there 17? I can't even remember.
There's 18.
Oh, right.
Aren't there?
Probably.
Yes, because there were 16, because the top 8 was half, and now there's 18 with the expansion teams.
I see.
I'm going to look this up because I'm doubting myself now.
No, I believe you. It sounds logical and therefore probably true. Which is the way that everything should happen. Not true. So there is now a calm over the commentary box as Madbird looks up the accuracy of the statements.
18.
Very good.
18 teams in the Australian Football League.
All right, we've got some work to do, Madbird. We need to go through the qualifying order.
We do indeed.
So Ethan Warren from Dayne Warren, Thomas McMillan in third from Kurt Stenberg, and then we had Colin Warwick, Sean Allen, Corey Preston, Zach Baker in eighth. We're going to go through this again in a moment when we actually do the warm-up lap.
Stealing my thunder.
But then we've got so Alex Cattle and Brody Steen in 9th and 10th, Hayden Kruger, RSM Latino, Steve Warwick, Aidan Schultz, and Dane Liccardo. And we'll go into a little bit more detail, Madbird, when we go through the order.
We will. Cameron Parrott in the Parrott in the chat. Parrott is in P-A-R-R-E-T-T, not the bird that wants cookies. Saying that there are 18 teams.
Polly wants her.
Polly wants a biscuit. That's not what they say in any way, shape or form, but as you can see, this is the top 7 cars that you can see on your screen, and just a tiny little bit of a front bumper in the back corner there at the top right. But there is the grid. It's not an exciting looking grid, must be said, and those Jim Beam, the resolution on those Jim Beam hoardings leaves a lot to be
I
desired.
turned it down because I was having some issues.
Fair enough.
So perhaps not the mod to be blamed for that.
Perhaps not. Ethan Warren, who after what looked like a very kissed on the dick by the fairy start to the first race, ended up not pitting, and then when he did pit, he had some dramas with the ZB guys and ended up DNFing, hoping for a better race starting at a pole here for race number 2. Dayne Warren, who was looked like he was going to have the complete opposite race to Ethan Warren, ended up having, again, the complete opposite race, but in the other direction, and came home in second. Thomas McMillan, who looked like he was on for a podium position. A lot of people looking like they were going to do something and then not doing it in the first race. Thomas McMillan ended up in 8th place, so hopefully better this time around. Kurt Stenberg, again, hoping for a better race this time around after a drive-through and a stop-go penalty in race number 1. Behind him, Colin Warwick, who nearly nabbed that second position at the very death of race number 1. Looking for another strong finish here in race number 2. Sean Allen, who won the first race, starting out of 6th place, which is where he started the first race. So it, if anything, bodes well for him. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. Just coughed right. My COVID everywhere.
Oh. Glad I'm exactly 1.5 meters from you.
Yes, definitely. Corey Preston is in 7th. So another strong qualifying showing on his return. In 8th place is Zach Baker, so a little bit higher up these EB guys this time around.
Bit of an improvement.
Bit of an improvement. In 9th place behind him is Alex Cattle. Again, very solid qualifying from the Race on Oz satellite team. In 10th place we have Brody Steen. And 11th we have got Hayden Kruger in the first of the AAR Mustangs. In 12th we've got RSM Latino. 13th we have got Steve Warwick. And 14th is Aidan Schultz, with Dane Liccardo rounding up the 15 runners, and Jake Maloney has chosen not to join us again.
That's a shame.
Which is a shame, because we always like to put bets on how high he will get by the end of the first lap. Speaking of the end of the first lap, Stairs, what are your predictions for race number 2?
My predictions are I'm going to go for Kurt Stenberg leading after the first lap. Bold, I know.
It's very bold. Bold and beautiful. I reckon Dayne Warren.
Yeah?
Dayne Warren for race number 2.
So Dane's going to get the best of Ethan once more.
Dayne will get it off the start. He will get it into turn 1, and then he will not look back.
All right. Well, we're gridding up.
And Thomas McMillan to finish the race.
I hope he does. Yeah. Was running strongly after that incident, and then ended up way down in 8th. But the revs are rising. We're about to get racing for the second time here at the Bend. And off they go. This time Dayne Warren gets a much better start, and they drag race Thomas McMillan in behind, trying to find somewhere to go, but there is absolutely nowhere to go. And it's going to be 3 wide down into the first corner. Are they all going to pick their braking spots? Almost 4 wide there. Look at Colin Warwick getting up the inside there. A little bit of rubbing going on. But in the end, it's Dayne Warren who's going to come out in the lead.
Yeah, and Thomas McMillan very nearly taking that second place from Dayne Warren behind. He's still coming around the outside of turn 3. If he can hang on to it, which he can't, he would have had the inside for turn 6 a little bit further on. But Ethan Warren holding onto that lead. Thomas McMillan right behind Dayne Warren. Might have a go into the hard braking zone of turn 6. He has a look, but Dayne Warren covered it off. Thomas McMillan shoves him a little bit wide, actually. How do you like that? How do you like them apples? And tries to go around the outside of this long turn 7, 8, and 9 right-hander, but does not manage to get that done.
Good McMill hunting there in 3rd place. Nearly took 2nd, and Ethan out to a 9/10 of a second lead already.
Yep, so my prediction's up in smoke, but my second prediction of Thomas McMillan finishing the race
mine.
still...
Kurt Stenberg's in 6th. I don't know how that happened. Must have got balked up after that first corner 4 wide bizzo that we saw.
It was nearly 5 wide even with Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick both buying into it. Colin Warwick is 1 out of that, so he's up into 4th and just on the back of Thomas McMillan. So quite close here between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And Sean Allen's also gained a position off the start.
Yeah, there is Sean Allen from the view of Kurt Stenberg. down there in 6th place, and he'll be eager to make up spots. But we've seen him pushing very hard, having a bit of an accident on the final lap of his qualifying session on the final corner. And it looked like he was in position to take that spot off of Thomas McMillan before that happened, but Thomas McMillan ended up holding on to 3rd, and we saw him quite racy at the beginning of the race, but already the Warren brothers pushing away, and Dayne Warren trying to bridge the gap towards Ethan.
Thomas McMillan doing quite well to be staying as close as he is at the moment. It looks like he is about, what is he? He's about 0.7 of a second behind.
Yeah, about that.
Dayne Warren. So he's doing well to keep within touching distance. If Dayne Warren pushes a little bit too hard, maybe has a bit of an accident, then Thomas McMillan is well situated to take advantage of that.
So the gap already down by about 0.2 from the biggest that we saw it, with Dayne Warren taking about 0.2 out in the last sector or two. It's not a huge margin Ethan has in terms of speed over Dayne in these early stages, and it's coming down all the time. And we actually, without the safety car this time, we've actually got a strategy battle that's going to play out a little bit more normally than what we saw in race 1.
Yeah, see if we can get, there might be an undercut from Dayne Warren if he is not able to overtake his brother in the early stages of this race, or it could be an overcut from Ethan Warren pitting a little bit earlier. Or they could both pit on the same lap and make things boring. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Thomas McMillan is pushing behind them though. And whoa, it looked like an accident for Alex Cattle on our other monitor. There you can see him just off in the boonies on the inside of turns 14 and 15, I think.
It's a shame for him that we caught that.
Yeah, he was running very, very well. At the time, looks like he got checked up behind Aiden Schultz.
Yep.
And just
on throttle, I think.
Yeah, up on the, it was a little bit on the curb, I think.
A little bit of steering angle.
Free advertising for Billy's Pies in the background there.
Do they need it though? Their quality is so good.
Such good pies.
Yep.
You've got no idea if you have never had one. Ethan Warren, of course you don't if you've never had one. Ethan Warren is now well and truly under attack by his brother Dayne.
And if Dayne gets ahead of Ethan, then he will be leading the race. Now we're 1-1 for obvious comments.
There you go. So
there we go.
So Blair Warren presumably is in there waving a 50 between the two of them. And Dayne Warren has spotted a pair of sketches that he's quite keen on, so he wants that $50.
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at Sean Allen and whoa,
no!
Getting involved there. That was a good save there from Sean Allen.
I thought that was going to be a much bigger accident.
So did I. So that's been going on, and now Colin Warwick under pressure from championship defending Kurt Stenberg. But meanwhile, Dayne Warren putting his brother Ethan under quite a bit of pressure for the lead of this race.
Yeah, just got to keep his head down, Ethan. Don't let him get inside of your head. I'm sure that as brothers, they have a lot of experience annoying each other. So presumably they've got a lot of experience ignoring each other as well. So Ethan needs to draw on that experience. And try to ignore that Coanda, SimSport ZB in his rearview mirrors. Conundrum. What a conundrum for that Coanda. As they're coming into the last couple of corners now, he's right on the back of him, so he's going to have a good slipstream on that long straight, and might be able to have a go down into turn 1.
Very good chance indeed. How good of an exit. Yeah, he's right up in that slipstream, and it's going to be very hard for Ethan Warren to defend here.
Going across to the inside vaguely.
Very wide track though.
It is a very wide track.
Dayne is forced to go around the long way, and they go side by side through one, both giving each other just enough room, but not an inch more. And Dayne Warren somehow almost muscles his way through, gets a bit of a bump for his troubles, and has stayed ahead. I think Ethan wouldn't be particularly thought of well by Dayne if he took advantage of that bump, and as a result Dayne has managed to take the lead from him.
He has. Ethan now got to try to glue onto him and recreate that overtake, but from the other direction, try to take that lead back. I reckon that first corner is probably the best overtaking opportunity on the track. Maybe turn 6, which is quite a tight hairpin style corner. But other than that, it's all very fast and flowing.
It is.
So it's not ideal overtaking territory.
Now, we saw some action earlier on from Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg, and Colin Warwick. I just want to see what happens here, whether Ethan gets back one on Dayne, but we're going to show you what happened earlier with that aforementioned battle involving Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg, and Colin Warwick. It's like Dayne might have just broken away a little bit. He has a little bit of a slide, as I said. They said that though.
He has. It's still only about 0.2 of a second, 2.5 of a second between the two of them, and they're coming through the last couple of corners now. So Ethan Warren right on the back of him as they come through to the last corner. So like Dayne Warren the lap before, he's going to get a slipstream all the way down this start-finish straight.
And further ahead though.
Had a little bit of a messy last corner, but as you say, he has managed to hang on to the lead a little bit better as Dayne Warren.
Yeah, Dayne was much closer to Ethan on the previous lap.
Yeah, not even able to get out alongside.
New. So,
okay.
Alright, let's show you this replay. So this was what happened there. We had a 3 into 1, almost doesn't go. They all went deep. Sean Allen was trying to pass Colin Warwick. In the end, let Kurt Stenberg through. And then we just saw the tail end of this live when Sean Allen had a bit of a moment. In fact, I think it was off screen there. So that...
No, I reckon it's coming up. It's coming up here, coming out of turn 6. I reckon is when we picked it up on the cameras. So Sean Allen manages to get down the inside.
Yeah, Kurt went deep, and Sean Allen tried to tuck up underneath him, and then on throttle was very lucky to save that one.
Very well done to save it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the battle
Ethan Warren has gotten back through on Dayne Warren while we've been watching that replay. It's always the way. It's obviously it's not too much of a lead. Dayne Warren is basically alongside of him as they come through turn 10, and he's trying to go down for the inside coming into turn 12, and he's actually got the job done coming through turn 12. Ethan Warren is going to have to try to fight back on it into turn 13, but nothing doing. Sorry, turn 14 that was. But Ethan Warren is well situated right on the rear bumper of Dayne Warren in order to take that position down the start-finish straight if he can get a good exit off that last corner. We saw how important that is on the last lap when he wasn't able to do it. But he looks a lot closer now. He's within a couple of tenths. He's glued onto the rear bumper of that Coanda Simsport as they come through the last corner. And Dayne Warren looked like he fainted for the pits, but then chose not to do so. Ethan Warren right on the back of him. He's got a huge slipstream. Dayne Warren goes for the inside to defend. Ethan Warren's going to have to go around the outside, try to outbrake his brother. Is not able to do so, but tries to cut up the inside, and he manages to get up alongside coming through turn 2. If he can hang on to that inside, then he'll be to the inside for turn 3, and he does so. Dayne Warren with a lot of pace, though, bumps him coming out of turn 3. If Ethan Warren can hang on to that inside, he'll have the inside for turn 6, the hairpin. And it looks like he's managing to do so.
Oh.
Dayne Warren going around the outside as they come down into the hairpin.
Ethan's still there.
He's still there, but he's broken so much earlier, and Dayne Warren goes out and around the outside. It's a very wide corner. There's a lot of lines you can take through there.
Yeah,
and
giving each other space. Dayne gave him the space there, but Ethan just wasn't quite there.
And looks like Dayne Warren's managed to make that position, and that is all she wrote for this particular lap.
Oh, a bit of a slide job there from Dayne Warren.
Wrote a little bit more, some more ink spurted out the pencil.
Yeah, now the pass that happened off screen for us, this is it from about 2 laps ago now. And this was when Dayne Warren was leading for the first time, and Ethan managed to catch back up and then got the job done here. So that forced Dayne Warren to have to repass Ethan Warren, which we just saw a few moments ago.
And looks as if it is a more comfortable lead at the moment. It's about 0.4 of a second now between Ethan Warren and Dayne Warren. And we're just at the halfway point of this race, so I wonder if Ethan Warren is going to think about dropping into the pits. Dayne Warren did faint towards the pit entry on the last lap, so he might even be coming in this lap. And he is indeed. Nope, no, he's not. He's done it again. And Ethan Warren has in fact come into the pits, as is Kurt Stenberg in 3rd place behind. So that was
Scenes.
Absolute scenes. As my co-commentator nearly spat water as from Dayne Warren's feint toward the pit lane. Sean Allen also into the pits in 4th place.
And also a bunch of other cars, Corey Preston, Aiden Schultz by the looks of it. Quite a few cars currently in that pit lane.
So Dayne Warren going just a lap longer.
Can't see much from
Well,
that angle.
potentially even more than a lap longer.
There are all the cars streaming down the pit lane. So, Madbert, can you read that list out for us?
Absolutely can. So we've got Ethan Warren, Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg, Zach Baker. We've got Corey Preston, RSM Latino, and Steve Warwick are the drivers in the pits. Most of them now exiting those pits. Oh, a little bit of a close one there between, I believe that's Zach Baker and Hayden Kruger. Or possibly RSM Latino, actually. As they were exiting the pits. So
what's the gap now? Kurt Stenberg, good turn of pace at the moment. We didn't really get to see get a chance to see his pace in race 1, but Sean Allen's lost something like 10 seconds to Kurt there.
Wait to see if Dayne Warren comes into the pits on this lap or if he's going to extend even longer. Because this is all time that Ethan Warren will be able to reel in on fresher tyres. Dayne just coming through the last couple of corners now. You can see him there coming down and into turn 18. So
41-second gap at the moment.
And he does choose to pit this time. Nobody to faint for this time. And he comes into the pits. So 41 seconds, as you said. Will those fresh tyres for this lap be enough to get Ethan Warren into a race leading position?
So this is where Ethan Warren is, just coming through the final sector at the moment. Dayne Warren trundling down the pit lane at 40 kilometres an hour, trying to find his box. And the box has been found and the box has been entered. So Ethan Warren coming towards the final corner now.
Yep, and there you go, going through turn 18. Dayne Warren still stationary in
He's
his
off
pit
the jacks
box.
and off he goes.
So he's moving. Ethan Warren, though, is now at full pace, just crossing the start-finish line now. So he's going to take the lead of this race once more.
Whoa, look at that.
There he goes. Well and truly. And breaks into the first corner. He's also going to have warmer tyres for this lap, so he should be able to stretch a little bit of an advantage over Dayne Warren.
At least working wonders there, Madbird.
Yeah, that only the one lap earlier from Ethan Warren, but that is about a 2-second gap, a 1.7 second gap.
Ethan Warren was purple in the middle and the final sector on his outlap there.
So he was definitely making hay while those new tyres were shining. And yeah, about 1.7 seconds the gap between Ethan Warren and Dayne Warren now. So
see if he starts to reel that back. But
Dane Liccardo still to pit, which is why you're seeing Dayne Warren as being in third and Ethan Warren being in second.
Dane will like to watch that back. Gets to lead a lap of this race, and well, let's pick him up on the vision. We haven't seen the AR Mustang driven by Dane Liccardo much tonight.
Big Mate. I'm not sure what Big Mate is, but it's a pleasing combination of orange and blue.
I'm sure he's related to Old Mate.
Oh, I got it.
You did. Old Mate has been an Australian legend for years, decades,
Don't feel sorry
centuries.
for Old Mate. Should have visited Australia while he had the bloody chance.
Yeah.
South Australia. Right?
Should have come back to Australia while he had the chance.
Yep, and now he's died in.
And now he's in the pits.
Norwegia.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. So Dane Liccardo is going to drop down through the order, which will promote Ethan Warren back into the lead of this race.
He's going to relinquish the lead. And Ethan Warren is going to take it. This is Dayne Warren.
Ethan Warren just with the fastest lap once again on that previous lap. So that lead has blossomed out to about 2 seconds.
Blossomed. I like your word usage there.
I'm not sure where that came from.
Transmission towers.
Yep.
They're a
Beautiful.
reminder of man's ability to generate electricity.
Don't need to plant trees when you can plant transmission towers.
Oh. Why don't they put foliage on them? Then they would look like trees.
I think foliage dies if it's because there's a specific frequency.
I suppose, but you see like trees very close to
That's
power
true.
lines.
I'm probably actually, I'm thinking
probably
of,
the like because there's like 50,000 volts as opposed to whatever is on the
I'm thinking of
residential power lines.
I'm thinking of mobile phone towers which can burn grass.
Well, I mean, so can power lines if they fall down.
Oh yeah, but mobile phone towers, like that's the reason why well, most of them are in huge fields fenced off with barbed wire because you can actually be grievously injured by the radio waves. You can see many videos of course, Russians holding leaves up, like close enough to the transmitters that the leaves just burn away. So,
well, the proverbial washing has been done with the pit lane sequences now finished.
Thank you for saving me from that.
I'm walking out to the hills hoist with the basket, and I'm going to start putting it out. So Ethan Warren leads the way after getting the undercut on his brother Dayne, who is just 1.4 seconds behind him. Thomas McMillan running strongly in a podium position in 3rd place, but Kurt Stenberg, strong in tonight's race, is chasing him down as Dayne sets the fastest lap of the race.
As they started the top 4.
148.9. Oh, I didn't write down the...
That is, no, 149.4 was the track record from last season, so that's been smashed.
Obliterated. Colin Warwick is in 5th. Good, strong showing for him tonight with a 3rd place finish in race 1. Then we've got Sean Allen in 6th, who won the first race. What's up?
Top 6, all where they started.
Fantastic. Zach Baker's up 1 from where he started in 7th place. And then behind him, Corey Preston is down 1. Tells stories, doesn't it? Hayden Kruger jumped up into the top 10 after starting 11th. Brody Steen, 10th. He's been a bit anonymous tonight, hasn't he? Then Aiden Schultz, love it, in 11th. Team 11.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I was wondering why you were so excited.
Latino in 12th, and then we've got Alex Cattle in 13th. Dane Liccardo in 14th and Steve Warwick in 15th. Not a single DNFer in this race so far.
And more importantly, not one while you're going through stock take, which usually, causes a little bit of... Usually has a bit of a body count.
Nice tractor in the background of one of those shots. That's a bit of detail.
I wonder if it's a Massey Ferguson.
I don't know that it is. I think it's more like a recovery tractor, not like an agricultural tractor.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Under a second
Partial
now.
to John Deere's myself.
Under a second now, the gap between Ethan Warren and Dayne Warren.
Yeah, as we saw, he set the fastest lap on the last race, and on the last lap of the race, and that was a 48.9 to Ethan's 49.2, so that came down significantly. That's about 0.3 of a second. Live chat, wake up, where are you?
0.7 of a second now, and there's only 2 laps left to run, so Ethan Warren's got to defend the heck out of this car.
My goodness, that happened quickly.
It did. That felt like a very quick 12 laps. I guess we're doing 3 of them, so we wouldn't want them to be too long.
So this is the penultimate lap, and look at how much Dayne closed under brakes. Let's have a look at the last lap. Dayne Warren did a 49.1, and Ethan Warren did a 49.8. So Dayne Warren eating chunks out of the lead that Ethan has over him. His tyres are 1 lap younger, which you wouldn't expect has that much of a difference. Both on softs, we would expect.
Yeah, I reckon it might be a bit of pressure on Ethan Warren. Maybe a little bit of I've won twice here. I should probably win more, and he's not wanting his brother behind, who, in general, seems to be the faster of the two. But credit to him, Ethan is currently in the lead and did put it on pole position. But Dayne Warren is definitely breathing down his neck and closing up that gap.
There's another battle going on for the final spot on the podium. Kurt Stenberg putting Thomas McMillan under bucket loads of pressure right now.
Many buckets. And he goes for the inside the outside even, as they're coming down towards turn 13. So that's and he's hit him. Thomas McMillan well and truly off and in the boonies, and I reckon he might be around. That is very messy driving there for Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, let's catch... Well, this is a low on board.
There's
KO getting some
free subscriptions? No.
Yeah, let's have a look here. So,
yeah, that's
a weird... It was side-to-side contact. Probably shouldn't have had that effect, but nonetheless, that was the result.
It didn't leave quite a car's width, I don't think Kurt Stenberg did. So, I imagine he'll try to give that... And he is dropping back. I think he's going to try to give that position back to Thomas McMillan. But no one's giving any positions away here at the front. Ethan Warren fighting tooth and nail for that first position. Dayne Warren trying to go down the inside at turn 1, but very well defended from Ethan Warren. to hold on to that. This is the last lap of this race, so Dayne Warren knows he's got to get this job done, and I reckon his best opportunity now is down into turn 6, which is just a couple of corners away. Bump drafting him down. Ethan Warren's got to go for the inside, I reckon. Go defensive on this corner, and he does.
2 wheels on the grass from Ethan. He's it's from Dayne, I should say, trying to go around the outside. Ethan, it's all he can do to make that ZB as wide as he possibly can. Dayne, does he have enough grip to try and drive around the outside there? No, it's a single file line through this middle sector, and there's only a few more opportunities left for Dayne.
Yeah, I reckon next best opportunity will be down into turn 13 and 14, which is quite hard braking, well, quite quick right angle corners. Other than that, turns 17 and 18 are both quite hard braking, but we haven't seen any overtaking there tonight so far. Might be time for it.
There was a feint there. That was the penultimate corner. There's just one last chance here for Ethan Warren.
I think that was turn 13.
Beg your pardon. It looks like there he goes. There he goes. He's dived down the inside there.
Hasn't managed to come off, but he's still on the inside as they come through turns 15. But Ethan Warren then will have the inside for 16. And then down into turns 17 and 18. 17 is the penultimate.
Here's where I thought we were before. The corners all
very
the same.
similar looking.
But Ethan very, very defensive there, and that's going to allow the chance for a switchback for Dayne. But Ethan manages to keep onto it now. You know Dayne's going to send it, but somehow manages not to. Ethan holds on there. It's a drag race. They're both wiggling, trying to get the traction down, and Ethan's going to hang on and take the win. A great race and keeps Dayne winless at the Bend. And meanwhile, Kurt Stenberg is going to come home and cross the line in 3rd place. Thomas McMillan quite a long way back there. And so, well, I'm sure they'll look at that incident and assess it.
Thomas McMillan not particularly happy by the looks of it as he soars off and into, I believe, a wall.
They're usually in the same Discord. Great friends, of course.
There goes his tyre.
So I suppose
that tells the story.
Says all. Well, yes, he's retired. Now let's see if we can catch. Oh, what's going on there? Wrong replay. There it is.
Bang!
Wow.
Whoa! My goodness. Get some nice slow-mo action on that.
Haven't seen the lead of that car very often.
Don't usually see it from this angle.
Both front wheels gone in that accident.
My goodness. The pirouettes and tyres are actually outrunning it at this stage.
The physics in this game totally unmatched. And that was race 2 at the Bend. One more to go, folks. And got to agree with Cameron Parrott there. Great racing by the Warren brothers and an awesome finish. And Mark Needham saying GR as well. So fantastic efforts all around.
Bloody gripping 2 races we've had so far tonight, Stairs. Ethan Warren doing an absolute good job.
An absolute stellar job.
Doing an absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah.
Is probably the sort of thing I was trying to say.
That's 3 wins at the Bend for him now. 2 last year and 1 this year.
It can't be matched now.
No, that's true.
So even if even if Sean Allen wins the next one, then it will be 2 to 3. So Ethan, a bit of a Bend specialist. A bit of a bender. Even.
One thing, though, is that they will have an opportunity to square the ledger next week when we come back to the Bend.
Absolutely.
But we will be using the shorter western version of the circuit, which cuts off a lot of the middle sector. They go straight on at turn 6. They turn right instead of left.
Very hard
and rejoin. Rejoin just before turn 14. So that'll be a much shorter lap time next week.
What'll that look like? I'm trying to. It looks a little bit. It'll look a little bit like a snub-nosed assault rifle.
Well, we do like snub-nosed assault rifles in the commentary box here.
You know what I like, Stairs?
What do you like?
I like emptying my bladder.
Yeah. Well, we do have a qualifying session, but if you would like to do that, I'm going to do it after this qualifying session. So
I'm going to sneak out while you cover
I'll excuse you while you do that, and we must surely come up with some shorthand so that doesn't need to be discussed in such obvious terms as I try and figure out whether I should reverse or forward my way into a gap in order to let you out. But that has now happened, and now I have free reign over the commentary box. So what shall I talk about, dear listeners? Live chat? Put your votes forward. would you like me to talk about my favourite sports, which are, well, motorsports, of course, being a motorsport commentator, a sim motorsport commentator. Lewis Hamilton going for the record held by Michael Schumacher, which I never thought in my lifetime would be beaten, but of course we do have something like 20 plus races in a year these days, so that does make it somewhat easier to reach such records. But I just feel like how unfitting it would be to get a record like that at a place like the Sochi circuit. And sort of, oh, remember the day Lewis Hamilton beat Michael Schumacher's record? Ah, yes, at Sochi. So I kind of hope that he doesn't win there, so that we can say it happened somewhere a bit more historic, like Imola, or I can't remember what race is after Russia. But personally, I think that would be a bit more of a special moment to witness history. You got to count sheeps. All right. Good night, Mr. Beachy. Matt Dunlop says, do we reckon Hamilton can score a ton? I think it's very possible, and probably, I think in a weird way, 2020 has added to the possibility of that, since we're not having the rule changes until 2022. So there's a very good chance that Mercedes will still have quite a dominant car next year. And so as my commentator rejoins us, we're just talking about the very real possibility that Lewis Hamilton could end up winning over 100 victories in his career, already on 90, and I think it's all. I would certainly not bet against it.
No, I could definitely see that happening, unless he retires at the end of this year, which
I don't think he's going to do that.
I don't think he's going to do it. Not when 100's so close, surely.
And you know, they're basically the same cars next year. A little bit downforce taken off them, so they're still going to have a good car next year.
Oh yeah, but I mean, how much of it is just boredom at this stage?
It doesn't seem as exciting. It's what I remember in Michael Schumacher towards the end of his career is just trying to pretend like he was happy about winning. Or not, I'm sure he's happy, but he's not excited.
Lewis isn't even pretending.
The excitement that you saw with Gasly, you know, it was great to see that when he won in Monza, and you can't recreate that.
Yeah, there's no, even when he puts it on pole, there's no like excitement really, and he's just like, yeah, thanks, yeah, good work team, and it's like he's just on autopilot, and it's not particularly compelling to watch.
It was the same in the Schumacher era, but personally I do find it interesting to have watched this career from the start. I know he's got a lot of detractors, but personally I think it's quite interesting to see someone beat Michael Schumacher's record.
Did we see Dano? It's Dano35 saying, I led a lap, woo!
Yes,
well
and we
done,
caught that, Dane, and we did mention that on the broadcast.
And Matt Dunlop asking, yeah, that would have been what provoked the conversation.
It did provoke it.
Yeah, no, I can't see him retiring. I reckon he will get. I could see him getting to 100 and then retiring.
Legitimately, that does interest me. That is probably the only exciting thing about seeing the same person win again and again is the prospect of seeing records like that tumble. But of course, when Michael was winning, he was already 40 clear of the next closest driver, which at the time was Alan Prost, who'd won 51 races, and then Michael was in the 50s and 60s and 70s and the 80s and then the 90s.
I guess the upshot of Lewis Hamilton being so dominant is that at least like on the record as we have Thomas McMillan just hit Corey Preston during their outlap for qualifying, so that's a little bit dodgy, let's say, for Thomas McMillan. I reckon there we go.
Yeah.
So he's caught up to him coming through the middle sector and just straight into him.
Yeah, that was like Vettel and Stroll in the cool down lap in Malaysia, that race. You remember that one?
I do, yes. It was a very confusing accident.
Yes.
What was I saying?
I don't know. You were talking something about Lewis Hamilton.
Something about Lewis Hamilton. Oh, at least it won't be such a blemish to see Michael Schumacher on 92 wins and then nobody forever. If we've got Lewis Hamilton on 100 wins,
he's not
Michael Schumacher on 92.
He's not quite the sort of Donald Bradman style outlier where like you've got one person and then absolute daylight.
No, indeed.
but it has to be said, there are more races nowadays, so you kind of have to look at it from a stand. In a weird way, getting to the same number of wins as Michael isn't as much of an achievement as getting to the same number of championships. And it's arguably harder to win a championship now because you have to win more races in order to win a championship.
Yeah, I always remember when I first got into Formula One, I was I'd look back at all these like famous names, and you know, in their championship years they'd won like a race, but they just finished enough races to come home with the most points.
Nico Rosberg's father, Keke, I think he only won one race or maybe two in the year that he won the championship, and that was the lowest number that anyone had ever. I think they're the lowest, unless you're counting sort of back in the 50s when there was only like 6 championship races.
I guess like the equivalent would sort of be like Rosberg didn't win that many races during his championship year, did he? But
he did win a lot though, because it was Mercedes dominant. So anytime Lewis didn't win, it was because he won at least I don't know. I want to say 7 or 8 races that year. Because I remember both Lewis and Nico had won 5 races at one point. They said, whoever loses this championship, it'll be the first person who's won 5 races and not won the championship. Which is not a distinction that I think Lewis particularly likes carrying, but nonetheless it is one that he does carry.
Yeah, no, I was completely wrong. He won 9 races.
MotoGP in 2020 without Marc Marquez, who for your benefit is like the Lewis Hamilton of MotoGP.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of like and he injured himself in the first race, and so he's not in the rest of the races. Berto brings it, says it's kind of like what happens if there's no Lewis in F1. Maybe just Bottas wins them all. I think that probably is.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Bottas is. I don't think Bottas is anywhere. Like people say, oh, you know, you put anyone in the Mercedes car and they'll win it. Like,
isn't Max ahead of him before the DNF?
Like Bottas
Misano.
Really isn't that like
Mugello,
he'll usually get out in the lead, but then we've seen multiple times this season Max has managed to get the lead from him through strategy.
And people say Lewis, it's just about the car.
Yeah, but it obviously isn't. Which in Nico Rosberg's championship winning year, Lewis actually had more wins.
With MotoGP, imagine that a guy is so dominant that he's been in the championship for like 5 years, only not won the championship once, and then if anyone else rides his bike, they finish in 17th or 18th.
Yeah,
that's how dominant Marc Marquez was. But we've got a qualifying session going on.
We do. We're halfway through it. Dayne Warren currently in the lead over his brother Ethan by 0.3 of a second. We got a little bit carried away with with theorising. Theorising. Thomas McMillan and Kurt Semberg round out the top 4, so that is unchanged. We're down to 14 runners this time around, so who have we lost? Looks like we have lost... who have we lost? David Nedidich. I think that might be it, because we only had 15 runners last time out. So David Nedidich has unfortunately not materialised like someone coming through a transporter from Star Trek into this 3rd qualifying session.
Well, maybe he tried to, but it malfunctioned.
Very possibly.
Obviously a major malfunction. Dayne Warren comes into the pits.
I wonder what his major malfunction is. There's Ethan Warren around the last corner and straight into the pits as well.
It's that lull. It's the 4-minute lull where everyone comes into the pits and we wonder who's on an actual flying lap.
I mean, good on them for the realism of coming into the pits, but
they have to.
Do they? So they can't just escape back?
I believe that is the rule. So you can see a queue going on.
It's very much like Formula One, where everyone sort of jumps out early, and then there's a lull, and then everyone jumps out right at the end. It's
just an absolute Alex Cattlesnake of cars going through the pit lane right now. I've been waiting to use that. That's excellent. Yeah. Brody Steen in. Who is on a flying lap? Is anyone out of sequence? That's what we want to know. There's currently the top 5 cars in the pits as well.
Zach Baker, I reckon, is on a hot lap.
Let's see if we can find him. He's currently sat in 7th place. And he is pushing.
He is pushing. It definitely looks like he's pushing, judging by that particular. That might be a corner cut.
We'll see. Haven't really seen that be too much of an issue tonight. They're allowed 5 in the race before they get penalised.
He's up, and
I'm surprised he's pushing so hard and then comes straight in. Maybe he did get a corner cut.
Maybe
he did.
And it was not worth continuing on. Sean Allen,
6th place. currently sat in 6th place,
which is where he's qualified in the first
nothing
two
if
races.
not consistent.
Well, and our top 4, as I said, has been unchanged, and I think Colin Warwick's been qualifying as 5th, which does raise the question of why bother with 3 qualifying sessions when the top 6 have been identical.
Should just do progressive grid races where they start each race where they finished the previous race.
Sure, Kurt Stenberg wouldn't be particularly happy with that after the first race. I'm sure Colin Warwick would be.
Did get back for a podium in race 2, although a little bit of an issue there with Thomas McMillan on the penultimate lap.
Yeah.
We'll wait to see whether anything becomes of that. Apart from stern words between the two.
Stern words and durries thrown.
So pretty much everyone's made their way back out onto the onto the racetrack now, apart from Hayden Kruger and Zach Baker. We're just watching Sean Allen on his outlap.
So Sean Allen will be the first to start his last hot lap.
1 minute 40 left. So everyone on the racetrack now
will only be able to do the lap that they're on.
So I think we're going to get up to, I think either Steve Warwick or Dane Liccardo will be the last, or even potentially Thomas McMillan to start their last lap. Keep an eye on that. But Sean Allen, did he lock up into the first corner? I looked away, but I saw a bit of smoke, I thought.
Can I ask you a personal question,
Yeah,
Stairs?
I did, sorry.
God damn it. I need to bring an air freshener to hang off my glasses.
I can't smell them, so I apologise.
No, that's alright. You sound exactly like Mel. Oh, I can't smell anything. Yeah, well, it's bloody lucky for you, isn't it?
I mean, I'm impressed with your incredible sense of smell. It's really...
I really don't think I've got that good a sense of smell. I think you're just acclimatized to the rancidness of your own excreta.
I think we need to stop talking about this.
Oh.
Hey, I've got a healthier gut than you.
Yes. No. Yeah. Well, that's not difficult. Sean Allen coming up to the second sector split just after this corner, so we'll get to see whereabouts he sits in relation to the current leader, Dayne Warren, and where he currently sits is about 1.4 seconds down, which would put him right about where he is. So that is fitting.
Dane and Ethan are both on tight laps at the moment.
And we're almost out of time in the session. There's only 10 seconds left to run.
So everyone on a lap. In fact, Thomas McMillan was the last man to get across the line to start his last lap. So we've just got one more corner to go for Sean Allen. See if he can improve on 6th place.
So Ethan was on purple through the first sector. Oh, sorry, he was faster than Dayne Warren through the first sector.
Sean Allen doesn't improve. There is Dane improving by a 10th by the looks of it so far. And
he was faster than Ethan by about half a tenth through the middle sector.
So Ethan's actually ahead on track there. So we'll pick up the end of Ethan's lap and then switch over to Dane. So final corner here for Ethan Warren. He's got to find 0.3 of a second. That's a fair bit. I don't think he's got it. He hasn't been really setting the timing screen to light, and Dane Warren has been purple through the first sector. But as I say that, I have to make a liar of myself. Ethan Warren does nab it, but Dane Warren takes it straight back by just thousandths of a second.
That is very, very close between the two. They are. This is the closest match I think we've seen them so far. Not that they've been both in attendance that much this season, but when they have been.
Kurt and Thomas were separated by just thousandths in the qualifying session for race 2, and again in race 3. But Thomas McMillan will try and have the final say in this argument, and he steals 3rd place from Kurt Stenberg at the death by 0.2 of a second. That must be frustrating for Kurt, but a great job there from Thomas McMillan.
Yeah, very well done. That's been a very consistent top 6, as we've been saying. Has been identical, just in slightly different orders for all 3 qualifying sessions so far tonight. So, very, very well done to Dayne Warren, locking in his second pole position. Hopefully, he will start with Thomas McMillan right behind him.
He wants to convert to a win, I think.
He definitely will, because it feels like he's been in the box seat on both occasions so far tonight, and it's just hasn't fallen together for him.
It most certainly hasn't.
But we've still got that race to come. Race number 3, the last one here for round number 12. And for goes into 12 3 times, and 3 is how many races we have.
Yeah, that is true.
I was going to go somewhere with that, but it immediately evaporated as okay. My co-commentator just charadesing the fact that he's going to go piss.
Yeah,
so
I did that so you didn't have to say that.
how could I not mention it when you looked so silly, so very silly? He will be, I imagine. I can hear the sliding door opening. He's off into the night to find a nice patch of green to yellow. So, what have we got for race number 3? Dayne Warren starting from the lead, but they've been pretty close into the first turn last race when they both actually made it to turn 1, the Warren brothers. First race, of course, if you weren't here, Thompson Millen straight into the back of Dayne Warren, who had a box full of neutrals on the start. And Dayne Warren very nearly came back to win it. But was on hard tyres and so lost out to Sean Allen. Oh, as Dane Liccardo and Ethan Warren tangle coming out of their pit boxes, Thompson Millen says, well, I don't want to see the punch-up that's going to occur as a result of that. See ya. And they all seem to have a bit of a wiggle as they go over that section of a braking zone where the AI sort of wigs out and jerks right and then left. So I'm not sure if that's a geometry error or if it's just a little graphical bug, but hopefully it is not actually moving their cars, because that would be well and truly fraught if they if that is what is occurring, but I don't think it is. So Thomas McMillan, one of the only ones out on track. We've got Thomas McMillan, Ethan Warren and Colin Warwick just turning some laps. Oops. A little bit of practice before the start of the final race here tonight.
It's been a mammoth night of racing, so you would have thought they don't need much more practice, but it's good to see some cars out there. It gives us something to look at the very least.
It's frozen in Siberian ice, much like a mammoth, and bloody good racing. Sorry, I'm just distracted by semantics. By some antics, that is, not semantics.
I would be distracted by semantics. I would find that distracting.
I'm just finding it pleasing that some antics and semantics are so close.
It's pretty good. I like it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Like it a lot.
Still the 3 cars on track.
Still the 3. Yeah, people aren't. People must feel they've got enough practice around here.
One of them did come into the pits. I think I just saw.
Ethan Warren definitely feeling like he needs to do a little bit of start practice, perhaps.
Colin Warwick came back into the pits, into the pit lane at least.
Good on you, Cole.
I wonder if he's going to do a practice start at the end.
So pole position for, well, not pole position, podium position in race 1 for Colin Warwick. So he did say
5th in race 2, I think.
He did say pre-season that his goal was to get more podiums this season, and he has managed that.
I think he's got stronger as the season has gone on.
I would not disagree with that assessment.
And one of the glorious landmarks of this Tailem Bend circuit, the transmission towers, would give us the power that we so dearly love.
Yes, and much like the power that is sat on the top of the AFL ladder for the entire home and away season this year. I've stood up there. We've both stood up there, Stairs.
We have.
I took a particularly nice photo of Leanne Tander's Audi
in the TCR race.
I did.
So that's time on the warm-up session. So we're gonna jump into race time. Final race for tonight. Not the final race at the Bend for this year, as we're coming back next week for the shorter version of the racetrack. But for now, we've got another 12-lap race, 60 kilometres in length. And, well, a lot of those lap times records that we'll be putting up there are now no longer the case, as we've seen Dayne beat them already.
48.9, I think, was the fastest one we had in the second race. So that track record there of a 49.4 has been well and truly demolished. Obliterated, as my co-commentator said. Mm-hmm. And those 2019 winners of Ethan Warren and Ethan Warren have been joined by Sean Allen and another for Ethan Warren. So 3 wins at the Bend for Ethan Warren so far. which he would be mighty chuffed about.
So we've almost got a full grid
Really
lined
not,
up.
really not too much of an advantage to be on a pole position here.
Yeah, look at that.
They're pretty much, well, they are even, so, and it's the inside for
In fact, Ethan slightly looks like he's got a bit of an advantage there because he's on the inside.
inside into the first corner. Interesting. If you were Ayrton Senna, you might complain about that.
Yeah, well, Senna's argument was about the racing line being on the opposite side to the pole. But of course, I don't know how well that is modelled in this mod.
I was while you were slashing stairs, I was just saying that I noticed all of the cars seem to do a little bit of a wiggle as they go over that part of the braking zone where the AI is. So I'm not sure if it might actually be a small geometry issue there.
Maybe.
But regardless.
So Dayne Warren, pole position, second pole for the night, ahead of his brother Ethan, who kept Dayne winless for race 1 and race 2. Actually, I can't remember who won the first race.
Sean Allen.
It was Sean Allen, beg your pardon. My apologies to Sean Allen. Thomas McMillan in third place, just pipped Kurt Stenberg for third place in qualifying at the death there. And then we've got Colin Warwick in fifth, he's having a good night. And Sean Allen, ever consistent, starting out of 6th place, and then behind him it's Corey Preston, another solid return. He's up, he's there or thereabouts. We haven't talked about him too much tonight, but he's certainly making himself known. Zach Baker in 8th place, and then behind him Brody Steen for Race on Oz starts in 9th place, and then we've got Alex Cattle rounding out the top 10 for the qualifying session. Behind him it was Hayden Kruger in the number 24, the All-Australian Racers Mustang number 24. His teammate Luke Rosella not here tonight, although I think he's watching along, so shout out to Luke Rosella. And then RSM Latino and Steve Warwick in 12th and 13th place, and Dane Liccardo rounds out our slightly reduced grid of 14.
Dan Liccardo, who led a lap during race number 2.
Did.
So very well done to him.
So, predictions as opposed to post.
As opposed to my post-diction.
Goodness.
So, honestly, I've got no idea.
Dane. I'm picking Dane.
Well, I'll go Ethan then, just to be contrary.
Yeah.
And Thomas McMillan not to finish the race.
Ooh, a big call. Now, Thomas has been doing well. I think he's been unlucky to not get a podium, and I think this is going to be the race for him.
Yeah, he'll either on the podium or DNF for Thomas McMillan. I'm calling.
Win it or bin it, or podium it or bin it.
Podium or bin it.
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it really doesn't.
Just rolling into their boxes there.
Giving himself a lot of room, Dayne Warren.
Yeah, actually, he's got quite a run up. So basically,
he almost looks like he's in second.
Ethan is on pole position, essentially. It's whoever gets the best run, of course. But the revs are rising. The lights are on. Dane's actually rolling backwards slowly. And away they go. And a great start by Ethan Warren. Dayne Warren is going to come under pressure as they go 3 wide into the first corner. It's going to be Thomas McMillan and Kurt Stenberg through into second place already.
Yeah, so he got a great slipstream behind Ethan Warren, Kurt Stenberg. And coming under pressure from Sean Allen, and losing that position to Sean Allen is Dayne Warren. So Dayne Warren down into 5th place off the start of this race. Kurt Stenberg's lost out to Thomas McMillan there through turns 2 and 3.
Wide.
And Dayne Warren's getting back through again, coming through turn 3.
Look at Sean Allen up into second place. He started in 6th. What a great start as he goes wheel to wheel there with Dayne Warren, who nearly gets forced out into the grass. Down the inside, Thomas McMillan has a bit of a look. Dayne Warren kind of had to turn across him there. And Thomas McMillan and Sean Allen go wheel to wheel for second place. Meanwhile, Ethan Warren is getting a fantastic break.
Yeah, he's thinking, thanks, I'll see you later. And he's got a 1.3 second lead at the moment over Sean Allen.
Thomas McMillan's had a bit of a swapper and gone back to 5th place, and he's got Kurt Stenberg just up ahead of him. That's Dane the car ahead. No, that's nowhere. Thomas is nowhere. Watch your rejoin. Watch your rejoin. He gets back safely, but only just.
He found a gap to slide himself into, so that was a bit hairy. An excellent call stairs. Fantastic start from Sean Allen up into 2nd from 6th. I'd love to see a replay of that particular start.
Oh, Thomas is round. Thomas is round.
Oh.
I think it's going to be the latter when we said win it or bin it.
we'll have to wait and see what happens from here if he persists onwards. Just grabbing a replay of that.
Sorry.
As so what happened? He was in behind Colin Warwick by the looks of it, and then just all by himself.
All by himself.
Just lost it and straight off and into the boonies.
Now back to live pictures here. This is Kurt Stenberg
taking the position.
Taking the position from Dayne Warren here. I'm wondering if Dayne started on the harder tyres.
Maybe, because he just doesn't seem to be. Although, yeah, no, he does not seem to have the pace in comparison. Thomas McMillan just not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I think he's just having fun now.
Yep.
He's gone out to get some donuts.
Good on him.
His missus has asked for
his
them.
missus.
Oh, he's rejoining the... No, he's not. Someone else is rejoining the track. Thomas is still spinning away like a top on our other screen.
So Ethan now has a lead of 3.4 seconds over Sean Allen in second. And Dayne Warren in third.
Just trying to... Oh, the yellow flag is for Thomas McMillan.
The yellow flag would be for Thomas McMillan, yeah.
Making sense.
Spinning around like a pop.
So, yeah, Sean Allen in second, Dayne Warren in third, and Kurt Stenberg not too far behind him, giving him pause for thought. So it's all gone wrong for Thomas McMillan, but my goodness me, Sean Allen is taking advantage. Opportunistic, very good job from him so far.
Very good job from him. Dayne Warren must be on the hard tyres. I just don't see how he isn't gobbling up Sean Allen if he's on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I mean, he was 8/10 slower than his brother Ethan through the first sector.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
But why though? From a strategy.
Bit of fun.
Yeah.
He's practicing his racecraft.
That's a good
He's
point.
pretty much clear in the championship at this point, so
Might as well have a bit of a play.
he might rue that if they end up DNFing in Bathurst and Sean Allen ends up winning it.
Oh, look at how close he is to the back of Sean Allen. Speaking of the devil,
If he is on hards, he's still doing a bloody good job on them.
Well, we saw he was even with Ethan Warren with Sean Allen on the softs and him on the hards in the first race. He was doing a very good job of defending that position from Sean Allen.
There we go. He's got a hell of a toe here. Pulls out to the inside. Sean Allen doesn't try and defend that line as they both go over potentially that piece of geometry we're talking about. As they hit the brakes, they start to wiggle. It goes a little bit deep. Sean Allen will try and hang it around the outside, which becomes the inside here as they go through into turn 3, and it is still side by side with Sean Allen and Dayne Warren. Now this is the part of the racetrack that goes the other direction when we race next week. This part they're coming up to now, where those cones are, they'll just go straight on and turn the opposite direction. And Dayne's managed to get that place back, and Sean Allen's going to have to watch himself here because Kurt Stenberg's trying to join the party.
Yeah, Kurt wants another podium against his name after that horror race 1. He would very much like to bring home 2 solid races in races 2 and 3. Here's the onboard from Kurt Stenberg, so you can see Sean Allen just a little dab of the brakes, another little dab of the brakes, and Dayne Warren really not too far up ahead. So Sean Allen having to keep an eye out of his windscreen and in his rearview mirror for the cars ahead and behind him.
He's pulling away a little bit.
Oh, drive-through penalty for Alex Cattle, so I wonder if that's for... He's not in the pits. We missed Thomas McMillan, Colin Warwick and Steve Warwick all DNFing.
We saw Thomas McMillan spinning like a top, so we knew that would basically happen. But
predicted it.
Colin Warwick and Steve Warwick, we didn't see how both of those guys retired, so that's unfortunate because, what did I say? I said Colin Warwick's having a good night.
I think I also
predicted that up for him, didn't I?
I think I also predicted Ethan Warren for the win just to be contrary, and at the moment it's looking like a pretty good bet. 10 seconds over Dayne Warren at the moment.
Well, I didn't know Dayne was going to go for what we think hard tyres.
We think hard tyres. Kurt Stenberg reeling in Sean Allen, reeling him in, but just not quite enough before the braking zone. And tries to hang with him as they go through the braking zone. Dayne Warren.
Oh, net died, says Cole.
Oh no, charcoal says net died.
Yeah, that is Colin Warwick, charcoal in the live chat. So that's very, very bad luck for what up till this point has been a really good night for Colin Warwick, and that explains why Steve Warwick DNF'd as well.
Thomas McMillan saying, "What a joke." Not sure what bit is the funny part.
What a yoke.
What a yoke.
All the time you have to leave the space.
Right up into the arch of Timo. I'll finish people.
I was doing a Fernando Alonso thing. But, yeah.
Oh, that's the Fernando thing. Oh, okay. It's
All
just...
the time, you'll have to leave the space.
Okay. It also sounds a bit like something Kimmy would say.
It does, kind of.
All the time you have to live in space.
Kimmy
It's the same for all of us, you know.
We have 5-second penalty.
Wow,
For
the
what?
time do I die?
They will add 5 seconds to the end. For what?
That's the most angry I've ever heard him. Just frustrated in...
Didn't ask for an explanation of what a penalty is.
I want to know why I got one.
You just knew it was coming, though. It seems to find engineers that don't understand what he's talking about.
For what? Colin Warwick just saying, what a shame. Was doing well in Mondays. Yeah, when the pants come off, the racing seems to really kick up a notch for you.
They do.
Cole. So I'm very sad to hear that for yourself and your
Ironically
father.
that you say notch, because he wouldn't be wearing a belt if he was just wearing undies, and belts have notches.
Well, he could potentially be wearing a belt and undies. It'd be unorthodox, but you know, if he chose to do so.
Indeed. Cameron Parrott says, ha 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 ha, at Charcoal. Whoa, wiggling under brakes is Kurt Stenberg there. I thought he was going to take Sean Allen out.
Would have been very, very concerning.
Unpopular.
So he's not managing to stick with Dayne Warren, even if Dayne Warren is on the hards, which we believe he is.
Let's see, well, 50.6 he did on the last lap. Ethan did a 50.1, so again, that seems to be matching our hypothesis.
It does. It's not miles away. I was expecting it to be much worse.
He's just getting better and better at driving on the hard tyre.
True. He's getting experience with it for Bathurst.
That's a good call, actually. I wonder if they'll try the hard tyre in Bathurst and extend their stint a little bit. Depends, though. I think the tyre wear will be turned down a little bit, so it'll be a bit more one-to-one, and then fuel will be a bit more of a factor.
Looking forward to that.
Remember, I think it was Peter Stenberg and his teammate, they ended up doing like 11 lap stints instead of the 20 lap stints or whatever it was that we were seeing from the other drivers, and we were confused because they consistently kept coming in 4 laps earlier than the other drivers.
I don't remember this.
I just remember the whiteboard you'd written WTF on it because their strategy didn't seem to be making any sense.
Ah, yes.
Anyway,
I do remember that.
there was something wrong with the keybind. They didn't know what their pit menu controls were, and so as a result they couldn't change their fuel level, and it was set to that the whole day.
Oh, gutted.
Which is something that just compounds over the course of the race.
Well, let's hope if they do attend once again for Bathurst 2020. Let's hope they've resolved that issue. Kurt Stenberg still struggling to get this position done over Sean Allen. We're only on lap 5.
Sean's very good under brakes, so it's hard to pass him into one.
This is the opposite of races 1 and 2. I feel like we're further in than halfway.
He's going for it, but he's just not quite able to get that last bit under the brakes, and Sean Allen is able to hold him off without going defensive, so he's not costing them time, and you can see Dayne Warren hasn't sprinted away that much. He's only about 1.5 seconds ahead.
Yeah, it's not a huge lead, but again, if they're on the soft tyres that are slowly starting to wear out, while he's on the hard tyres that are maintaining themselves.
Well, they could pit now. It's the halfway point.
They could.
Here we go.
Oh, he goes down the inside. Sean Allen leaves the door open, and Kurt Stenberg walks through it, but Sean Allen then sort of just stands in the way and says, no, I don't actually want you in my house.
There was a bit of a bump there. It's all good.
All good between, well, I was going to say friends. I'm not sure what their relationship is.
I'm going to have to change my view about this racetrack. This has produced great racing.
It has.
This year. Last year I remember it being a little bit boring, but I guess it just hadn't warmed up yet. Bit of a wiggle there for Kurt.
A little bit of a wiggle. Yeah, no, I've been pleasantly surprised by the racing so far tonight. Some cracking racing, especially towards the pointy end of the field.
And different winners in the 2 races we've seen so far, but it looks like Ethan is well on his way to making it 2 wins from 3 tonight.
And making it 4 wins
from 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it 3 races next week?
Don't know yet, we haven't got the schedule, but I would expect we will see a 2-race format with the longer second race like we have in the other double rounds that we've had.
So at this rate, looking like no one is going to be able to match Ethan Warren for wins at the Bend. Someone Dayne Warren into the pits, as
so
is Sean Allen.
Yep.
Shane Allen.
Ethan Warren actually in the pits. Dayne both Warren brothers in. Both Warren brothers in, and Sean Allen. So Kurt Stenberg has stayed out, as we did see.
So this might not be the foregone conclusion that we were talking it up as if both the Warrens hop onto the soft tyres.
Brody Steen. No, Brody Steen went through, sorry. Ethan, Dane, Sean, and
Kurt.
Zach Baker and Hayden Kruger are also in.
So Kurt Stenberg and Brody Steen have both stayed out. So there goes Ethan on the soft tyres.
So Kurt Stenberg now leads the race. Brody Steen is 10 seconds behind him. Oh, that was Zach Baker there, just managing to get through in front of, I can't quite, oh, that's Dane.
Yeah, that was Dayne Warren. So
In the shadow it was a bit difficult to see.
the gap is about 10 seconds between Ethan Warren and Dayne Warren. And if they're both on soft tyres, then that gives Dayne Warren a nice little challenge of about 5 laps to rein that in. And a drive-through penalty for Corey Preston, presumably for speeding in the pit lane, so that is a shame for Corey.
It's a straight in and straight out pit lane, so they have to come back to 40 kilometres an hour from basically racing speeds.
There's no little chicane or anything.
No.
Chicken.
The chicken is in the fridge.
What?
I put the chicken in the fridge and then I take it out and...
It's not something I'm familiar with.
That's neither am I.
Oh, you're making it up.
I
Okay.
am. Lovely. Don't
So-
like silence.
Kurt Stenberg.
Makes me think about things.
Well, it's alright to have a little bit of dead air.
That's true, that's true. No, we should. Sometimes. Kurt Stenberg's going to come straight in now, and that makes a lot of sense. Oh, locks it up, gets it down to 40k. He's already had a drive-through penalty today for speeding in the pit lane, so the last thing he wants is to replicate that.
And Brody Steen coming in behind him. So that, and Dane Liccardo, I think, is the only one left to pit.
Just looking at Dayne Warren's middle sector, it was quite a bit faster than Kurt's.
So Dane Liccardo, if he doesn't pit at the end of this lap, will lead another lap of a race tonight, which he'll be very thrilled about, I'm sure.
Kurt's on the move there. That's Brody Steen pitting from what was second place. Dayne Warren's coming down the pit lane now. I think he's gonna hold on quite comfortably.
And he does.
Yep, Kurt just coming out of the pit lane now.
And Dane Liccardo did pit.
And
so,
there is Sean Allen.
ooh, so Sean Allen manages to maintain that third position over Kurt Stenberg. You can see that wiggle that I was talking about as they hit that.
Oh, Kurt started putting down the brakes there. No brake temperature into turn 1.
None at all. Very, very cold tyres. So
And
Dane Warren has
brakes
got,
would have come down as well, I reckon.
so Dane Warren's got 4.5 seconds behind Ethan Warren to catch up. What were their lap times last time out? So 50.2 for Dane and a 49.7 for Ethan Warren. So much quicker is Ethan on the new set of tyres. Matt Dunlop, it seems rude not to lock all 4 wheels when you're on your way into the pits for a fresh set of rubber.
Well, you know,
Might as well use the last of it up.
Yeah. So, well, oh,
What?
that's what happens if you don't. If,
Oh,
if you don't lock them up, that's what your tires like. Oh,
He tells, oh, you
That's
didn't,
it.
you didn't want the last.
I'm going to get
5%
recycled
of
now
mine.
and turned into some, erasers for elementary school children.
I wonder if that's what I wonder what they actually do with tyres. There's a place at Lonsdale that recycles tyres. I should give them a call and ask.
For tired tires.
They're called Tyre Cycle, actually, as in tyre and recycle run together.
Oh yeah, I like clever names for things.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Are you? Better turn you on in summer. Get a bit of breeze on me. No, don't do that. We're explicitly told all year not to do that.
That's a very good point. Do apologise. As far as I know, I don't have COVID.
So Ethan Warren, well, there you go. He set the fastest lap of the race. 49 dead, and
Dayne
Dayne
Warren
Warren
beats it.
responds by 0.3 of a second. This is on, but there's only 3 laps left in this race.
Yeah, might have left his charge a little bit late, Dayne Warren.
Yeah, might have.
So 4 seconds is the gap.
Sean Allen in third place is got a fairly comfortable gap from Kurt Stenberg, who again goes wide at the first corner.
Yeah, I don't
Struggling a little bit on the brakes there.
I don't think Kurt has the pace, which we say it all the time. Sean Allen's race pace is a lot better than his
really good.
qualifying pace. He just seems to be able to get into a zone and just bash out very quick, consistent laps. Matt Dunlop, I imagine quite a few of them get sent back to Dunlop for analysis, especially if they blister or otherwise go bad. That's a good point.
I would send them to you, Matt.
How much would you think Australia Post would charge for a full race tyre to send to Melbourne?
All right,
Quite a lot.
let's do our stock take, shall we? We've got the stickers ready.
Do it.
We're ready to just. We'll get some extra hands on deck, but we won't pay you for the last 3 hours. But I'm your ride home, so we'll just leave you in the shop until midnight.
I've lost the track of this analogy.
You helped us do a stock take at Officeworks once when I worked there.
Oh God, I remember.
And you just had to sit there.
I do remember that. That was a particularly jobless part of my life, which luckily is no longer the case.
Dunlop says, honestly, sometimes I forget my surname. Me too.
I wouldn't.
Ethan Warren leads the way, and he has a 3.9 second advantage from Dayne, who is catching up to him. Are you right?
Yeah, I'm just still recovering from remembering that stock take.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
I thought you would get something out of it, but didn't know they were going to do that. I'm both soft and hard, Cole. All right, in third place we've got Sean Allen, and then Kurt Stenberg in fourth place, trying to chase him down, but it looks like Sean Allen might just have that covered with 3 laps to go. Zach Baker in fifth place. He's had a good race, up 3 spots from where he started, and Brody Steen too. And then we've got Hayden Kruger, who's made 4 spots, so quite a few guys there taking advantage of some attrition. Corey Preston there, looks like he's serving his drive-through penalty actually.
Yep.
And then Dane Liccardo, so he looks to get that position, as Hayden Kruger is still travelling through the pit lane, so I think
Corey Preston
will go. Yeah, sorry, Corey Preston. Dane Liccardo will get that position, and I think Corey Preston will not lose another position because Alex Cattle is down a lap. And then we had 3 retirements, and Steve and Colin Warwick, who both had an internet disconnection, and Thomas McMillan, who spun in the early stages. Now, meanwhile, Kurt Stenberg has caught up to Sean Allen.
Yeah. So when I said that he doesn't seem to have the pace, I was lying.
Yeah.
Because he seems to, in fact, have the pace to catch up to Sean Allen. Does he have the pace to overtake is more the question. That gap at the front has not come down at all. 4 seconds still between Ethan and
I think
Dayne
Ethan's
Warren.
got that covered.
He does indeed.
Even though at the moment Dayne is the faster of the two, but it's only coming down in tenths and it needs to come down quicker than that. Here we go between Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen for the final spot on the podium. Both have been on the podium at least once each this
Sean won it.
round. Sean did win the first race. Kurt Stenberg finished third in race 2 after a battle with Thomas McMillan, but he's got a huge toe, bump drafting even down the main straight. And as ever, Sean Allen doesn't cover the line to defend. Very confident under brakes, but Kurt Stenberg is a lot closer this time. Doesn't get it stopped. He's been having difficulty getting it stopped all the way through there, and they have contact, and Sean Allen gets through and stays in second.
Yeah, I reckon Sean gave him a fair bit of time there to get that car turned in, and when it was clear that it wasn't going to, Sean was like, well, I've got to turn in at some stage.
It was a bit awkward.
And
It's so hard to beat Sean on brakes.
it is. He's the Daniel Ricciardo of breakers. He just seems to always be very late on the brakes and very confident on the brakes in that race on Oz car.
Enjoying this little interaction between Matt Dunlop and Colin Warwick
I
in
am
the chat there.
definitely hard after race 1, said Matt Dunlop.
Referring to Mr. Dunlop.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Dunlop. I like the idea that the guy that owns Dunlop tyres is called Mr. I'm sure it was a Mr. Dunlop at one stage.
Probably.
It was
A famous motorsport name as well.
Dunlop.
It's Joey Dunlop, I believe his name. He was a motorcycle rider who won the Isle of Man TT.
Oh yeah. That sounded less impressed than it should have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Only one on
Only-
one of
only-
the
only-
greatest, biggest racetracks in the world.
More than once.
I don't think it was just once. I think it was multiple times.
Oh, okay. You've seen the videos of the rally car going around there?
I've not. That sounds
It's
terrifying.
it is terrifying.
I mean, it's terrifying on a motorcycle.
Yeah, just flinging it around in a Subaru, I believe it was. Charcoal says yes.
Penultimate lap of the race. Leader is on the final lap of the race. Ethan has actually stretched his lead to 5.5 seconds, but understandably, we are watching this battle between Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg because once again, Kurt's going to have another opportunity. This time, Sean Allen tried to cover the line, but Kurt has managed to get up the inside, and it's Sean Allen marginally in front. They both wiggle over that piece of geometry.
Oh.
Huge lock-up from Kurt Stenberg
Just can't
there.
brake.
And Sean Allen gets through. How does he do it? That must be so frustrating when you're trying to outbrake someone. You've got the track position, but you just can't outbrake them, and that seems to be the case each time they go into turn 1.
Yeah, just cannot pick a breaking point, Kurt Stenberg, apparently. Apparently, whoever it
Points
was,
for trying.
whoever this Dunlop was, won
26 times.
26 times.
I did think it was something like that.
Goodness me, that's a lot.
Now you sound impressed.
Now I sound impressed. I would die if I attempted it once. I'm 100% confident. So, to win it 26 times.
I would die 26 times if I attempted it once.
Fair enough.
And Ethan Warren making his way downtown to, well...
He's homebound.
Well, let's hold on to this. There's still one more opportunity, or a couple more opportunities for Kurt Stenberg to get the position on Sean Allen. He's not given up on that. Just into that part of the racetrack which I get confused with the final sector, but I know it's not the final sector because I'm looking on the other screen at Ethan Warren going through the final sector.
Stenberg.
There was a bit of a tap. Trying for the bump and run a little. Final drag to the line for Ethan Warren. A great job from him tonight. Absolutely unbeatable in the last 2 races. Dayne Warren is going to finish in second place. Oh, he's come across the line already. Does the old J turn, and Kurt Stenberg tried everything there and just couldn't get it one. He's got quite a gap to Zach Baker behind, so he will recover to finish 4th. And threw everything at it. In the end, Sean Allen rounds out our podium.
Sean Allen too good in the end. Just incredible defensive drive from the Race on Oz driver. And Zach Baker comes home in 5th place, up 3 positions from his finish. And Brody Steen in 6th, so good runs for the 2 drivers there. Hayden Kruger in 7th, up 4 positions from his start. Very well done, starting outside the top 10. And RSM Latino coming across in 8th. Behind him will be Dane Liccardo in 9th, who's still got a couple of corners left to run. And Corey Preston will round out our top 10 with Alex Cattle, the only runner outside the top 10, and a lap down with the 3 DNFs of Steve and Colin Warwick and Thomas McMillan. Bloody
It was a good night of racing, that one, man.
That was fantastic. I was honestly, the Bend had me worried, but it turned out to be unfounded because that was some cracking racing. It's a shame it doesn't look much nice.
It is a shame it doesn't look much nice. But we had the bends for nothing because the Bend is better than nothing.
We were. I was thinking on the drive here of how to work the bends into the commentary, and I gave up on it. And I wasn't expecting it to happen.
And we got in there right at the death, didn't we?
We did. Right at the death.
Right at the death. Right at the death.
He's got it right at the death. When you said we entertain ourselves, you weren't lying.
No.
And hopefully other people find it entertaining as well. I cut across you, Stairs.
That's all right. If you're in the live chat, whatever you want to put. But
hope you've enjoyed
apart from that, what was your favourite moment of tonight's race? I would be very eager to hear.
Absolutely.
We're also filling for time because we're waiting for some of our drivers to come in and have a chat. So what do we have? Sean Allen won the first race. Ethan Warren won the second 2 races. Dayne Warren finished second in race 2 and 3.
Colin Warwick finished on the podium in the first race.
Well, he did too.
Kurt Stenberg in the second race and Sean Allen in the third. So Sean Allen, both the Warrens, Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg were our podium sitters for tonight.
So we're hoping to be able to speak to a couple of our race winners.
We got, looks like one of them.
Well, Kurt Stenberg was the podium sitter in race number 2 after a battle with Thomas McMillan. Well, I will start with Kurt there. You had a good battle with Sean in the final race there, and a podium after a battle with Thomas McMillan in race 2. How was the night from your point of view?
Well, race 1 didn't really go to plan. I thought I was on for a good strategy there, and accidentally got a speeding and pit penalty because I forgot about it, and then had to try and fix some issues that were going on with the safety car. But battle was really good with Sean there in that race. I made way too many errors of my own accord, so it's my own fault that I didn't manage to get past him, and had fun with Thomas as well.
Yeah, so we saw a little bit of contact there. Did you have words with Thomas McMillan while that was going on?
I didn't, but Thomas has had plenty of words to say to me about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we'll let that one go through to the keeper. What were the issues you were having with the safety car in race 1? We noticed it stayed out for quite a few laps.
Not sure why it stayed out, but it didn't actually call green when it went green because Hayden passed the safety car, so it did that weird thing. But yeah, not sure why it stayed out so many laps. It's a bit unusual, but yeah, it kind of ruined the first race.
Potentially, you could see it that way, but it certainly was an interesting strategy battle with people going for hards and some people going for softs. So it certainly mixed it up a bit.
It did mix it up a bit, and yeah, that's the other thing that happened is it handed people a bunch of penalties. But obviously after Bathurst, we're pretty across that now, so got a way to which to fix that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, Kurt, and congratulations on stronger results in race 2 and 3. Commiserations for race 1.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
No worries, and we'll turn quickly to Cole. Colin, it was quite a strong night from you. You got a podium in race 1 and another good result in race 2, but then the internet disconnection in race 3 put paid to that for you.
Yeah, it was disappointing. I was hauling in some good amount of points this round. I was actually surprised at my pace because this time last year I was like 3 or 4 seconds away from Dayne, or Ethan I should say, and yeah, this year I clawed like 3 seconds back, which is good. So yeah, just went through the motions, and then in that last race, yeah, just had the internet drop out, which is disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing, but you must be encouraged by that pace then.
Yeah, well, I've upgraded the sim a little bit, got a new graphics card, running triples now, so it's helping a lot. So, yeah, onwards and upwards from me.
Onwards and upwards. Great job tonight. Look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
No worries, thanks guys.
And turning our attention to Dayne Warren, your brother kept you winless tonight. Sorry, what am I talking about? Yes, he did. But you got pole position in a couple of races, so you had some good pace tonight.
Yeah, pace was there, but just a few things didn't go our way. Obviously, in the first race, we took hards expecting the safety car to be out for like 2 or 3 laps, and then Sean got us at the end. In the second race, it was a good battle with Ethan, but yeah, pitted way too late and lost to the undercut. And in the third race, it was just a terrible start, put us back in the field, and just never recovered from it. So a bit disappointing, but still not too bad.
So we're wondering whether you started the third race on hard tyres. Was that the case, or was it just a bad start?
No, it was just a bad start, and at this joint, if you have, because of how wide the track is into one, you can have 3 or 4 cars up the inside. Then when you get into one, they sort of shuffle down the inside for 2 and 3, so it's really hard to hold off cars at this joint.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly looked like it, and you were hard pressed to keep people behind with that long run into turn 1. Nonetheless, 2 podium finishes and a strong result in terms of the championship tonight as we roll into the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, of course. I haven't had a look at the standings, but I think we've got a pretty healthy lead over Sean, I think it is.
That's right.
So, yeah, we'll just keep turning up and see how we can do. Hopefully hold it off Sean to the end of the season.
No worries. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what you can do next week. Thanks, Dayne.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, let's turn our attention, Madbed, to Sean Allen, winner of race 1, and a great job on... I imagine you would have had the soft tyres in that race and were able to get Dayne Warren towards the end of that race.
Oh, yeah, cool. Well, Mike's working. Yeah, we went softs in the pits. I'd done a longer test run previous, so I knew the softs could easily make that distance after the safety car. I wasn't sure what Dayne was doing. I was surprised anyone went onto the hards, to be honest.
So it wasn't just a punt. You knew that it was going to work out.
Yeah, 100%. I knew it was, because I knew from last night that the safety car was probably going to be out 2 or 3 laps, and after that I knew I could make the softs last that long. But yeah.
So in the end, the safety car staying out for a few more laps than that, you wouldn't have had to do that much managing, I guess.
No, that's right. Once it went green, well, eventually went green, we could just go flat out for the rest of the race and had some pretty good racing.
And that
shocked
in
myself
that
with the win.
last in the third race, you cracking defensive drive against Kurt Stenberg and seemed to be able to hold him off into that first corner. And we compared you a bit to Daniel Ricciardo being very late and confident on the brakes. Is that how it feels in the car, or did it feel like you're under attack a little bit more?
He definitely had the pace on me. There's no denying that. I was easily probably at least 6th fastest tonight. But I knew into the deeper braking zones, if he was braking slightly later than I was, he was going wide, so I could duck back down the inside. And I used that to my advantage a couple of times. I just felt really comfortable on the brakes.
Yeah, good stuff, and brought home a very solid podium finish in the third race as a result of it.
Yeah, can't complain. I went in tonight hoping for top 5 finishes, so to come out with a win and a 3rd place shocked me.
Shocked in a good way, I would assume. Thanks, thanks very much, Sean. Hope to see some good results for you next week out as well.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
No worries. And then and moving on to our double race winner for tonight, Ethan Warren, and that makes 4 wins in the Automobilista Supercars Championship at the Bend Motorsport Park after being undefeated here last year. Congratulations, Ethan, on keeping that strong record going.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I was a bit surprised with my pace in the race, to be honest. I haven't really done any race runs leading up to this race, so yeah, I was pretty happy with how the set held the tyres on.
Yeah, it was a good comeback after it looks like you got involved in a bit of the midfield madness after the safety car restart in race 1.
Yeah, that was not ideal. I kind of messed up my strategy pitting, in my opinion, too late under the safety car, so just got held up in the back, and then some weird stuff happened in the game with this restart, so I wasn't sure what was going on there, and then just some contact into turn 2, which ended my race.
It only went up from there then. You were very, very strong after that.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with how the night went, to be honest. Qual pace was pretty decent, and was able to have some fun battles in race 2 with Dayne, and take advantage of him getting held up at the start in race 3.
Yeah, we saw Dayne in race 2 faint for the pits, and you got the Dayne fainted and you went in, but you ended up getting the last laugh there with the undercut on the new tyres.
Yeah, I was hoping he wouldn't pit, because I think we share the same pit box, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on a great night of racing there, Ethan, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Thanks, guys, and also big thanks to Dayne for the awesome livery. It looks awesome.
I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah.
Madbird?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, absolutely cracking liveries for the both of them. So
great to see.
nice
Great to see out of the Black Mustang.
Definitely.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ethan, and thanks to all of our podium sitters for taking the time to have a chat after a big night of racing, Madbird.
Yeah, enormous night of racing, and I can only echo Matt Dunlop's highlight of the night, which was the sheer accuracy of my Thomas McMillan prediction at the start of race 1.
Yeah, that's got to go down in the highlights package for the year, I think.
I'm a fan of that. But no, I find the Bend to be a particularly boring track, and so I was.
It wasn't tonight.
It wasn't tonight. I was pleasantly blown away by some absolutely cracking racing all throughout the night tonight. And no real easy wins. The closest would probably be the last race where Ethan had a few second gap over Dayne, but the other ones both right to the line. So, what about yourself, Stairs?
Yeah, I should have thought of what my answer to that question would be, having asked it of you. But yeah, I think my highlight, seeing people once again going on different tyre strategies. It's kind of more of a broad highlight as opposed to one singular moment, but I always like to see a bit of variety. It spices it up.
It does indeed. And hopefully we'll get to see a bit more of that next week.
100%. We will be back at the same time Tuesday next week for the Bend short version, the West Circuit. So don't miss that. It'll be at I think 7 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're getting very close to that daylight savings switchover point, but not just yet. And we'll bring you all the action next week. I was going to say don't go anywhere. Do go in somewhere. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you in 7 days' time.
See you then.
Bye for now.